Going live. We're going live. We're going live. We're live.
Have you actually set live in OBS?
Yes. We are approximately alive.
Excellent.
Huzzah.
Just set yourself to live in YouTube Studio and then realise, we're only broadcasting a black screen.
I don't think it will actually let you do that. Yeah, it comes up with it goes sort of, it looks like you're not ready. We can also just go live from OBS, but the last time we did that, it went horribly wrong, and I've been afraid to try it again ever since. I'm sure I'd just done something wrong, but like that was... Do you remember that one time when we did it and like we were just not live for half an hour and we were talking away, talking to the camera and everything, and chat was just like, so when do you think they're going to go live? And we were like, are we not live? And we're like, oh no! So,
We've gone live in another stream.
Yeah. But yes, hello folks, how are we doing?
We went
We're back.
live on someone else's channel.
Early, what is this sorcery? JD, it is 15:45 on the dot. We are precisely on time.
Yeah,
How dare.
we did it.
So yes. But yes, welcome back everyone. We were away. We had to go to the dark place, also known as Kent, to see friends. Spoilers, we went to see Sai and Sai's shop. Sai's shop is cool. Anyway, that's
Yeah,
it. But yeah.
it's almost structured and tidy.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about this anymore. So, so yes, yeah, we're away for the weekend, but we are now back. Yeah, today we are going to talk about stuff and we're going to waffle about keyboards. You remember how ages ago I was saying how I wanted to refurbish my old keyboard and do everything with it? Well, I've been working on that and the video is in post-production. However, the end result of that video, well, to say it went horribly wrong sounds a bit dramatic, but the result was not what I hoped for. And so,
Thoroughly disappointing.
yeah, but it was disappointing in a very informative way. Like, I would have been really mad with myself because I basically ruined my keyboard, but also I ruined it in such a way that taught me exactly what I wanted to know in the first place. So it was an expensive mistake, but an educational one. So today we're going to unruin the keyboard, and like I'm doing this on the podcast and not recording it as part of the video because basically what I'm doing is I've got to put new switches in this keyboard. Here's the PCB for it. I've already gone through this process once on video. So like in the video, we don't need to see me go through this process a second time. So there will just be a jump cut where I'll be like, now I've put good switches in it. So, so yes. So just to give some background exposition on what happened there is, I threw the entire kitchen sink at this keyboard to see what would happen. And one of the decisions I made, I'm just going to grab a couple for examples. One of the decisions I made...
You still have holes with soldering.
Yeah, a little bit, but it'll go through. Oh, they're no stuff, those switches.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were where the stabilizers would connect or something.
Nope. Although I think there is the possibility to have board mount stabilizers there, but this keyboard has plate mount stabilizers. Anywho, as I was saying, so what I did was I bought new switches for this keyboard, and because I was going to lube the switches myself, and also I was lubing the switches and I was foaming the keyboard and replacing the stabilizers. And what I decided was, I thought if I buy new and fancy switches, when I'm done, I won't know if it feels great because of the new fancy switches or because of all of the other stuff I've done. So I decided to replace my Cherry MX Browns with just brand new Cherry MX Browns, except I would lube them and film them. So that's what I did. Unfortunately, I overlubed the switches and basically ruined them. And so when I actually when I reassembled the whole keyboard and went chugga chugga chugga, it was beautifully silent, but also the switch response was just awful. It's mushy, it's dull, and the switches don't bounce back nicely, and it's just, yeah. The keyboard is functional, but it's not a good experience. And I was like, I've got two choices. I can either put the keyboard on a display stand on the shelf and just buy a new keyboard, or I can just put new switches in it again and buy the good switches in the first place. So I bought new switches. However, through that process, what I did discover was, yeah, I ruined the switches, but the keyboard was dead silent, and I think that was down to the phone myself. So I think that lubing and filming the switches didn't really help me at all, and all I needed to do was just buy good switches. So I have learned that putting foam in your keyboard does help a lot, but you should just buy good switches and don't mess around with lubing unless you really, really know what you're doing. And especially don't lube your own switches on a soldered keyboard, because if you have to do it again, you have to desolder an entire keyboard PCB a second time, which is what I've been doing this afternoon.
I love how these are no longer tactile,
No.
are in fact just mushy linears.
Yeah.
And like, that's proper.
Yeah, I followed a guide. Maybe I think I just applied to, like, I did the process that the guide said, but I think I just used too much lube.
Oh yeah, that one's tactile.
Yeah. If I were to do it again, see, in the guide that I followed, I put lube on every surface in the switch, except for the tactile bump, which I tried to avoid, but it's going to get in there, you know. However, I think what I should have done was just lubed just the stem on its own, and I think that would have been enough, just to kill some of the switch noise. But there it is.
It's impressive how different those two switches are.
Yeah, consistency as well, I suppose. But yeah. But yes, in terms of actually saving these, what I'm going to do next, because I can see people saying no ultrasonic. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to disassemble these switches again, probably off camera. Just disassemble them all, and then I will clean them all out. I'm not going to put them in the ultrasonic. I'm actually going to put them in my my 3D printing washing machine, because what I can do is just lob them in there with some warm soapy water and just put it on stir. And yeah, that saves me from having to heat up the whole ultrasonic. And I don't know if the ultrasonic is going to help that much, because it's oil I'm trying to remove. I think just warm soapy water with some stirring action will do just fine. So I'm going to do that. However, today I'm just putting new switches in. So yeah, and Caradog has also brought along his Keychron, just so when I'm done we can do some comparisons. Because you were kind of interested in what the result of this was going to be like as well.
Yeah.
And you seem to have boxes of switches as well.
Yeah, these are the old ones.
Ah, I see.
So I've taken them out of there, and then those are the old ones.
Very well.
So it's just a case of if you wanted to do a, side by side comparison. I thought, given they were actually on the desk next to a keyboard, I was just like, oh.
Fair enough. Yeah. So yes. Right. Is this a solder job? It is a solder job, yes. Which is, yeah. And yeah, that was one of the things that made this an interesting job and also a difficult job, because, one of the questions that I wanted to ask in the video that I'm making about this keyboard is, if you've got a soldered keyboard, is it still worth it? And it's like, yeah, you can absolutely desolder all the switches on a soldered keyboard and put new switches on. Just because your keyboard is not hot swap, that doesn't mean you can't change your switches. However, even with a desoldering gun like my one, it was still a mission. And it was still a mission that ultimately I'm inclined to say, no, I wouldn't advise doing this unless you really have no issue doing a lot of desoldering. Like, if you've got all of the desoldering equipment and everything, sure, go for it. But if you're not an experienced solderer with a lot of soldering equipment, no, don't. So yeah.
Don't worry, JD. We have the switches for you.
Have a feel of one of those. So these are Durock T1 Tactile, 67 grams. and I think they feel jolly nice. However, I'm not already accustomed to heavier switches. These are reasonably heavy, but I prefer a heavier switch, so that's why I'm going to heavier switches. But you've already been using some heavy switches, so that's not quite as shocking for you compared to me, who is used to MX Browns, which are incredibly vanilla.
Yeah, Browns are 40.
Yeah, Browns aren't.
Aren't
There
they?
are lighter
Something like that?
switches than Browns, but Browns are not exactly heavy. So
Yeah.
right. I'm scanning through the chat.
Yeah. I placed Browns with Gatron Blues. Oh, no. I can't imagine doing that. These are Gatron Blues,
With all the clickies.
and they feel so light and hollow to me.
Yeah, what have you got in the middle of this again?
MX Clears.
Clear, yeah. And do you know what weight clears are?
55.
Okay, yeah, so just slightly heavier then, yeah. Yeah, those ones are. See, the interesting thing...
These switches should be the same weight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, functioning should be the same weight, as far as I understand.
Yeah. I guess the spring feels similar, but because there's no bump, the bump introduces more resistance, which makes it feel slightly heavier. So, yeah. Okay, then. You're not into keyboard stuff. Fair enough. Catch you later. Right. Another caption for me. Have a feel of one of those.
Yeah. The MX Blacks, which are what I had in my Ducky SF. 1SF. To me, they feel horrid because they're linear switches.
Oh, okay.
They're straight linear switches.
Yeah, I don't like linear.
Because they're linear, to me, they feel lighter than the clears.
Yeah.
But they should be heavier.
I want to like... I like the idea of linear switches because now and then I'll feel a keyboard and be like, ooh, they're very smooth. I love it. But when I actually sit and start typing on one, I'm like, no, can't feel a thing. Hate it. Hate everything about it. So, yeah. Chunky Chuck says, any recommendations for a wireless, full-size mechanical keyboard with backlit keys? So, firstly...
whatever the keychron is.
Yeah. Does the backlight need to be RGB or just exist? Because having full RGB backlight is quite difficult to find for enthusiast keyboards. However, if you don't mind it just being like just a flat white backlight, then yeah, that's no problem. There's lots of options available for that. Because like, yeah, there's a keychron for that, and that is more or less. Let me just grab my Royal Kludge.
Yeah. So you've got the Keychron K10, the Keychron Q6 Max, and the Keychron V6 Max as 3 options for Keychron full size.
Yeah.
Wireless, mechanicals. I think they're backlit. I'm not. Oh, actually, I'm not sure about the backlit on 2 of those.
No. Yeah. Failing that.
Yeah, the K10 has an RGB or a white background.
Okay. Yeah. So the K series is what you want.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. And then Royal Kludge will do something similar if you go AliExpress as well. Because again, this is a Royal Kludge RK100. It's the one I use on my bench. And this isn't quite full size. This is 95, 99%, something
96.
like that. 96%,
Yeah, 96.
That's the one. Yeah, this is 96%. So it's a full size keyboard that's just been squashed, basically. And that is wireless and backlit. Although it's worth noting that backlight murders the battery life on a wireless keyboard. So keep that in mind. Although this is wireless, although this is backlit, I don't actually use the backlight. Also, this is filthy, and I've just noticed waving it around on camera. I'm like, wow, this needs a clean.
Yeah.
But it sits on the bench. It gets dirty. So yes, wired or bust.
Is that the RK100?
Yes. Yeah, that's the RK100 with Gateron Browns in it, I think. whatever it comes with. I think it's a brown switch, and it's not cherry. I'm fairly certain it's Gateron.
I do enjoy the fact of you've got now like Gateron Jupiter Brown and Jupiter Banana
What the hell is Jupiter?
and stuff like that, and I'm like,
I can't remember.
I think it's their non-RGB ones.
Oh, it might be south-facing RGB
south-facing
specifically.
RGB.
Yeah, that might be specifically what Jupiter means. It's south-facing RGB.
Yeah.
Although
the V6 Max has self-facing RGB and QMK and VIA.
So, what south-facing RGB means is on an RGB switch, could you go to Benchcam a sec?
In 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. The Q6 doesn't have a backlight. That's what it was.
Yeah. Benchcam with face.
Nope. That one.
So this is an RGB switch, and the only thing that makes it RGB is basically the fact that it has more or less clear housing, and it has that little window at the top. So the RGB LED on the PCB, which is here's a PCB. You can see each one has got an RGB LED at the top. So that shines through that gap. That shines through the gap, and you get RGB through the switch. Now, so this is at the top, so it's north facing. And the problem with that is you don't look at your keyboard from the top. You look at it from an angle. So south facing RGB, the idea of that is they moved the LEDs to the bottom, to the south, so your eye line sees them more, so you see the backlight better. So that's what's meant by south-facing RGB.
Yeah, that's the thing that annoyed me about this, is that it was north-facing RGB.
Yeah, and it's fine, but like, at the end of the day, I think it matters more if you're not using shine-through keycaps, because if you're using shine-through keycaps where the actual letter on the keycap will light up. So as you can see, these are clear, and so the light goes into the keycap and it illuminates the letter. The letter is going to light up one way or the other, so you'll see your backlight doing stuff. But if you're not using shine-through keycaps, all you're seeing is basically the splash of the RGB just illuminating around the keys, and you just don't see a lot of that on north-facing keyboards. But that's also the reason why, in my opinion, if you're not using shine-through keycaps, there's no point in being backlit, in my opinion. Because, yeah, it kind of looks slightly pretty, but I think if you don't have shine-through keys and the letters aren't lighting up, I don't actually see the point in having a backlight. So, yeah. Jupiter energy killing my vibe. But I actually have this. This is something that annoys me about switch names. Is everyone is giving their switches fancy names. What's the Ponzi names? Basically, everyone's calling their switches banana and chalk ice switches, and it's like. Or you could just tell us what the switch is instead of having an esoteric name that everyone has to look up. Like, what is a Jupiter Brown? You could just say it's tactile 55G south or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, but nah. You got a transparent top case, so you don't really need the shine-through keycaps. I suppose, but then, like, could you see the letters in the dark? Because that's what the backlight is for. Otherwise, the backlight is just aesthetics. And if you have the backlight just for aesthetics, that's fine. But also, you can't really. I don't know. I don't know. I love the idea of backlights on keyboards, but maybe I'm biased because I don't sit in the dark, and I don't mean that facetiously. I mean that just like I always have a desk light on. I don't like sitting without a light shining on the desk and illuminating the desk. So yeah, what are you looking at? This Q13 Pro Alice layout. What is Alice the name of that Ergo layout?
Yeah, but I was just like, oh boy, oh gosh.
I mean, that looks like that's giving like That looks like the advantages of a split keyboard without the pain in the ass of a split keyboard.
Yeah. Ah, they do make one.
What's that? A left hand?
A lefty keyboard.
Huh. Sure.
Yes, you left-handed people, you exist.
And you should just learn to use right-handed products. You should fit into our world.
There you go. Confused the bejesus out of everyone.
Oh man, that's so weird to look at. A keyboard with the numpad on the left side. I don't know, man. I think most lefties have just learnt to use their right hand for a numpad.
Yeah. See,
like, I'm using my offhand to WASD. I don't use my. I haven't. I'm not using the cursor keys for WASD because that's my dominant hand. I don't know. Does that mean I don't know? I'm gonna.
Are you telling me you don't have a special custom 3% keyboard only with WASD on it?
Keyboards are interesting, but also, man, there's some nonsense out there.
I think my favourite one is the keyboard that only has 2 buttons.
For what purpose?
It's just got N and O.
I see. All right, I'm going to start assembling this while we waffle because it'll only take half an hour, he says confidently.
Also, why is your plate so bent?
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. It'll go straight when I solder it all together again. Yeah.
Did you do a violence?
No.
And use your keyboard as the implement?
I did no such. I did no such
Is that
thing.
wanted? Worry. The film where he smashes someone in the face with a keyboard and the tooth flies out and then the blood splatter says the word. Is that the one? I can't remember.
I can't help you with this. I'm sorry. I know you need help with this connection, but I can't help you.
Terrible.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh, I remember. Okay, right. Can't do this quite yet.
Have you made a mistake and you've bought 3-pin switches?
Sort of. So these are 5-pin switches for a 2-pin keyboard, but the extra 2 pins are just plastic pegs. So I just need to go and just go on the pegs. Yes, I just forgot that we were going to have to do this, but it doesn't take long. So yeah, we may as well go to face cam just to show you what I'm going to do. These switches, let's bring up a comparison.
See.
Here we go. So as you can see, the switch on the left has 2 plastic pegs sticking out of it, whereas the switch on the right just has the central peg. So I just need to use a pair of side cutters just to nip those pegs off, and then they will fit just fine. Okay, may as well go to face cam because this bit's going to be boring. Right, we need a thing to talk about.
You also need to not be glow in the dark.
I need to be less pasty.
Bench cam exposure, so I just knocked that back slightly.
I'm sorry.
It just randomly went, oh yes. You know how everything has colour? It's now white.
I see.
Like, okay.
Okay.
Fuck's sakes.
Was indeed wanted. What have you read, and are we allowed to say it aloud?
Damn it, sigh.
Okay. Question answered. So yeah.
But yes, people have confirmed that it was in fact wanted, the film.
I see.
Yes. How much were the switches? How much was your baggie?
So this set of switches, let me look it up actually, because I think they were about £60.
Yeah.
But
if you're buying not cherry switches, the best place to get them from is like AliExpress or Banggood.
To be honest, if you're doing any custom keyboard stuff, AliExpress is still the best place. There's so much stuff there, it's grand.
I would say though, if you're buying cherry switches, the cheapest place I found is Amazon US or Amazon UK.
Okay.
Just because these boxes were dramatically cheaper on Amazon UK than they were on AliExpress.
Oh, weird. Yeah, maybe just because they're just cherry are more common.
Yeah, and also because cherry is
American.
German.
Oh, German. Fair enough. Yeah. Sorry.
Engineered and made in Germany, not just engineered.
Precision German engineering. All right, I paid £50. Apparently, I paid £50 for this pack, which seems like, did that include delivery? It must have. Yeah. I mean, free shipping. Yeah. Yep. I paid £50, which is pretty damn good for a pack of for a pack of Durocs.
How many was in the pack? Was it 110 pack?
Or
was it
I think it might have been 90 pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, so
how many switches do you have on your keyboard?
Like 88.
Oh, good.
Like that. Yeah. There's enough there.
I thought you were about to get to the end and then go, bollocks.
Yeah. This keyboard is 10 keyless. So it's the majority of TKL keyboards are 88 switches.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just half expecting you to get to the end and then be like,
oops.
Nads.
Yeah.
Graham, have you sold any of the display PCs yet?
I don't want to talk about this anymore. Not yet, no. But they're getting shuffled around again. However, I think I've had interest in, but people are just not coming through on it. I've just not managed to close any deals. I've had people who have been like, I'm super interested in this, I'm going to get back to you, and then haven't gotten back to me. But also what's not helping is just I haven't had a lot of confidence in the spec of them. And because there's not really been a low, medium, high option on the bench with specs and prices out. However, I've decided that I'm going to respec the Lianli again, and after shuffling all the parts down, I'll end up with a low spec, medium spec, and high spec machine. And I think that's going to solve the issue.
You did sell some of the parts though, just because.
Yeah.
On an off chance, someone wanted something completely off the wall compared to what you had. So
yes,
shuffling parts around from what you had actually fixed their.
I had someone who needed Yeah, that's right. Because I had someone who needed what was basically a very high spec office machine. It was almost a workstation, but it just needed the ability to just open survey files and stuff like that without struggle. I had a spare 3950X in one of the computers, which again was one of the reasons why it was annoying me. Is just the 3950X is just a weird CPU. It's just like, don't get me wrong, it's a great chip, but it's not exactly a gaming CPU, is it? You know. And so I was like, what am I going to do with this wretched thing? You know. But obviously it was perfect for this guy's computer. It was just like, oh, cool, this thing will tear through handling large documents and stuff. Yeah. So I lobbed it in there. It also got rid of another one. It also got rid of my one of my X570 boards as well. So that's another one of those gone.
Stick gobs of RAM in it.
Yeah, well, he already had 32 gigs of DDR4.
Yeah.
And so that was another thing, is we didn't really want to build new because we kind of wanted to try and reuse some of the stuff he already had. So yeah, he ended up with a pretty decent spec computer in there because, you know, the 3950X, while it's not exactly a gaming CPU, it's still a stonking quick CPU. So yeah, that worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it went well.
So yeah, I've got to decide what I'm going to put in the Lianli. I think I want to build an AM5 system. Because, yeah, like, I've seen modern Intel recently and a couple of times now, but I still haven't really played with AM5. I've not actually built an AM5 system. I've not actually... Oh, I think... Yeah, I have taken out... No, I haven't actually taken out an AM5 CPU before. So, yeah, I really need to get some hands-on experience with that. Not that it's going to be any different. You know, it's just another LGA CPU. But yeah, technically, and this is the other thing, it's like when people talk about AM5's issue with long post times and stuff like that, don't have any direct experience with that. So, you know. So yes. AM5 with a Liquid Freezer 3, yes. Well, I don't have an excuse to buy a Liquid Freezer 3 yet, unfortunately, because I've still got the EK Elite. But
I mean,
again,
they're
I
just
will.
worth buying up for stock because they're 50 quid for an AIA.
Yeah, I should buy one anyway. I nearly had an opportunity to get one this week because I did a computer build this week, and the customer had bought an AIO that did not fit the case. And they paid a silly price for that. It was a cheap Chinese one, and I was like, this is great. I'm going to upsell him for a Liquid Freezer 3. I say upsell, he'll save money by buying a Liquid Freezer 3 and get a better cooler. But he didn't go for it, unfortunately, just because one of those customers that just wants to make their own decisions, kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, unfortunately, you have a habit of consistently making the wrong decision, but it's your PC, not mine, you know.
Oh, is that the one who...
The Mloong.
Yeah. The
Mloong returned again, and once again had the wrong parts that were not compatible. Yeah. And like initially, I didn't spot it at first, but you know, as soon as I got to building, I was like, oh. Basically, I posted a picture in the exclusive chat room of the GameMax dual chamber case.
Yeah.
It won't take a 360mm rad.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But isn't it also? It looked like it was also M80X.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope. Full ATX.
It looked like it was M80X, and I was just like, well, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't terribly tall, but again, it was one of those things where if they'd made
I think it was just the angle made it look like it was about this big.
It was one of those frustrating times where it was another time where it was just like, if you made this case 10mm bigger, it would have fitted 360mm rads.
Yeah.
So, someone didn't look at that and be like, wait, if we make this slightly bigger, it will fit another class of cooler. That's a no-brainer. Why would you not do that, So, yeah, that was a bit of a bummer. And it's kind of funny because, spoilers, but at the start of the video, I'm reviewing this case and I'm going, oh, it doesn't fit 360mm rads. That's a shame. Yeah. Oh, well, life goes on. And then I get halfway through the build and then I'll be like, right, so here's the cooler that the customer has bought. So this is a 360mm. Oh. I didn't plan this, I swear, So it's kind of funny because I legitimately didn't plan it, but I just stopped dead as the penny drops that the cooler is not going to fit in the case.
Yeah. Just oops.
So yes, Long Post is Expo. Yes, I'm aware of that, but even still, I haven't seen what that actually looks like or whether that's still a problem because I'd heard that they'd made the RAM training times better.
It's a smidgen of it depends as well.
Yeah, on whether it's good RAM, good motherboard, etc.
Because it is basically, and whether the motherboard has set to do long training as well.
Yeah.
Just because there are different lengths of training time you can set.
Is there a benefit? Is there a?
Oh,
I was just like, that's a weird looking one. It's one of the MX Browns.
Brown.
Yeah.
This blue switch looks a bit weird in its brown colouring.
Shush. Is there
colourblind?
Is there a benefit to doing the long training times? Does it find better speeds?
I don't know because obviously I've not played around with it, so I don't actually know. But I know that it's a thing and you can. I would imagine that you'll get better. I'd imagine you get better timings from a longer set because it will try more.
Yeah, that's
fair. Presume, but I've no idea. I don't actually know.
Yeah. Very well. Doo-doo.
Yeah. Yeah. As Martin says there, B650 gigabyte with context restore post in about 15 seconds.
So is that 15 seconds to train or 15 seconds every turn on?
Effectively, I think every cold boot. So where you've pulled the power out the power supply.
Yeah. Fine. Yeah, see, by modern, that's not very good, but also how often are you turning off your computer at the wall? So it's one of those that's a bit naff, and I understand why people are irked by it, but also that's just not really a big deal in the real world. that one time where you turned off your computer at the wall, you're going to have to wait another 15 seconds for it to come on again.
Yeah.
Come on, you know. So
I think on when it stays on, it's less time than that, but it's still going to be like 10 seconds sort of thing.
Because I do like fast startup times, just because, you know.
Yeah.
Although that much being said, I only like it in theory. Like, the reality is that, you know, when I get home from work, I walk into my living room, I press the power button on my computer, and then I carry on taking off my coat and taking off my shoes and stuff. And, you know, my computer is always ready to go by the time I actually sit down at my desk. So
yeah,
having more startup time ain't going to kill me. But then on the flip side, you're going to feel that if you've just crashed in the middle of a game and you were in the middle of a multiplayer game with your mates and you just crashed out of the game in the voice call, that's when you're going to be like, oh my God, please hurry up, I'm begging you, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Doo-doo.
Yeah. I think but the most delightfully overly complicated setup for that is having Wake on LAN.
Okay.
Then having, I've forgotten what there's Wake on LAN apps for your phone.
Yeah.
And then have effectively if this then that. So when your phone gets into a geofenced area or connects to your home Wi-Fi, it sends a Wake on LAN.
There are just way easier solutions to that problem. You know.
So your computer is guaranteed every time to be on by the time you've, you know,
like Wake on LAN has always been a hot mess anyway. However, more to the point, if you really wanted to do that, you could just get one of those remote start power buttons with a little key fob.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be automated. You'd have to have like a Wi-Fi plug with power, you know, with the computer set to always turn on when the power restores. And then have that get, you know, triggered by you connecting by your home automation.
I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put on the kettle while I wait for my computer to start. You know, like I always do, because I'm a normal human being, kind of.
Yeah, I'm not saying these are good options. I'm just saying these are options.
It is kind of funny to come up with wacky hijinks like this and be like, we're not saying you should do this, we're just saying that you could do this.
But you have, yeah. Or one of those, you saying about the remote key fob thing.
Yeah.
You set the key fob to be the same key fob as needed to open your garage door. So when you press the button to open your garage door, it also turns your computer on. There we go.
I don't have a garage, though.
Well, that sounds like a you problem.
That sounds like poor people problems, yeah.
Yes, Wake on LAN based on a trip when opening the front door. And then you have a second macro setup, so if anyone opens the door to your room, it WDs. Just in case.
When you walk through the door, you have to give the code phrase, otherwise everything just self-destructs and erases your hard drive.
So it's turned on your PC in the night and now your motorbike gets nicked. No, you just press the power button on the computer then.
Okay, I have finished trimming legs off of these switches.
Also, hello Pianov.
Hey Pianov, how's it going? We are not talking about bollocks like usual, I promise. Right. Okay. I'm going to sweep up my doings. They're kind of coming up on camera. I have a million tiny clear bits of plastic on the bench now. And now I can actually start putting switches in this keyboard.
I have so many bits of plastic. Do these even fit? Also, here, have another bit of plastic.
Thanks, bestie. All right.
Which way up does this goes that way, that goes that way, and this goes...
It's like when you spill sugar and you try to sweep it up with your hand, but it's all sticking to the palm of your hand, and you're like, no, I need you to go into my other palm so I can put you in the bin.
Yeah, they seem to fit. Absolutely fine.
Of course they fit. You had doubts. You doubted me.
Well, you know, they might not have been flush.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about that.
Also, it's so sticky.
That's flux. Yeah. I need to very firmly reiterate that is the reason why my keyboard is sticky is because it has flux residue on it. Otherwise, that could have very, very concerning connotations.
I mean, wouldn't that just be on your keycaps? Your spilled coffee or what have you, you know, your sugary beverage.
So, I'm putting my key switches in now.
Oh, yeah, that's also sensible.
What, putting
Doing
them in
it
play?
like that.
Yeah. See, this is the pro and con of the way I've been doing this. Is you can remove keys on a one key per basis, but because I went through the agonizing process of desoldering all of them at the same time, I can now just load up the plate with all of the switches and then just go with the PCB. So yes, now I just simply drop all of these into place. Of course, this would be an awful lot easier with hot swap, but you know, this is not a hot swap keyboard, and this is what happens if you want to refurbish a non-hot swap keyboard. But as I say, spoilers, but this foam that I've put in the bottom and this foam I've put under the plate, really hecking good. That I think is what has really made this, and I am genuinely excited for the result of this keyboard now. I think it's going to feel really good. I think I could have just bought well, for the amount of money I've spent on this, I could have just bought a Keychron. However, I kind of knew that at the start, I think. I knew when I started this project that I would spend the same amount of money on it as just buying a Keychron.
I see, yes. I was trying to work out how your construction lined up with this, and I realised that, yes, this is just pushing... You're just clicking these into this because it's the frame that actually holds them.
Well, there will be you should have a plate like that.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's that that plate that these actually clip into.
Yes, that's right. The switches clip into the plate, and then you're just left with pins that stick down, and then you've either got a soldered PCB like this with just holes that need solder putting in them, or they have a little gap and there's a surface mount socket which creates the hot swap sockets.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you pull one of your switches back out again, we can show what that looks like under the camera.
Goodbye, my X key.
I was about to say, if you make a I've lost control joke, I'm actually going to throw this at you. No,
just about it being my X key.
I'm just gonna let's get back into this. This is a custom PCB or a kit. So this is a Cooler Master Master Keys Pro S. It's a factory keyboard. This is not a kit. It is not a fancy keyboard at all, which is exactly why I chose it to do all of this work to, because I wanted to see if you could do all of this stuff with just a regular keyboard. So, like, theoretically, all of this stuff I'm doing, you could do this on a Corsair keyboard if you wanted to. And the video is basically asking the question, but should you? And yeah, spoilers, the answer is no. But also, it's a case of, I did all of this, so you don't have to, basically. And I'm sure someone else has done it before, but now I've done it and I know. But yeah.
Hello, welcome. Why are you here? You're in New Zealand. Maxine turned up.
I see.
But I'm just like, why are you here? You're in New Zealand. Isn't it like 4 in the morning or something
I see.
obnoxious?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, what? A New Zealander's not allowed to watch?
Not live. Not live. It's bad for your sleep schedule.
Get out of here, New Zealand. You're illegal.
Same with Australia. You know, you should be sleeping.
Yeah. So there's a hot swap socket, so you can actually see that the holes have got little sockets in them. And like when I first got the Royal Kludge keyboard, we actually took this guy apart and like we took the PCB out, and you could see the little sockets and the way they were put in. I don't think we're going to bother doing that with any of the keyboards today, but the construction of a keyboard is pretty simple when you get down to it, though.
I'm going to really annoy people.
What are you going to do? Are you just putting one of my ruined browns in or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So the reason why I think that the foam was so effective is one of the keys, I think it was the letter U or something like that, I accidentally put in a blank MX Brown that I had not lubed or filmed. And when I was tapping on that one, it felt just as quiet as the lubed switch. It just wasn't ruined. So that's why I think that lubing the switches didn't actually do anything either. It was the foam that actually fixed the noise of the keyboard.
To Google.
What are you going to ask?
What the hell the specs are for a Cherry MX Brown?
Oh,
I'm
I
now
see.
so confused.
But like, is that one of my? Yeah, that's one of mine. So that's not a fair comparison because that switch is currently ruined.
Oh, okay. I think. Well, I was just trying to work out because I couldn't work out what the weight of it shouldn't be affected. The spring
Yes.
push down requirement shouldn't have been affected.
No, the return is affected. Yeah.
But like, I was just like, what is going on?
I'm hoping that my keyboard, the backlight actually gets a bit brighter with these as well, because the bottom housing of the MX Browns isn't really clear. It's got the hole that the light can shine through, but I would imagine that some of the light gets lost in those.
Yeah, they aren't.
Yeah, because as I say, like you've got a hole in there that the LED will shine through, but I'm sure there's a little bit of light that gets blocked by having to shine through a window instead of through a fully clear housing.
I didn't realise
Yeah,
that.
so
Because that's what the clear looks like.
yeah,
It's exactly the same.
that's right. So it'll be interesting to see if that actually makes any kind of meaningful difference or not. It seems odd that they didn't really make a meaningfully clear bottom housing, considering the top housing is actually clear. But I think that's why these Duorocks are actually clear housing, just to eradicate that as a potential problem. Are you trying to detect the difference?
I think these brown switches actually feel quite good in this keyboard.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. When you take it on a single switch basis, it doesn't feel horrendous, which is why after I finished lubing them, I was like, oh yeah, these feel really nice. You know, like I've dampened the tactile feel of them, but they sound great and they feel pretty cool. But by the time you've got a keyboard full of them and you're typing on it, you're like, basically.
Come back here.
Can you bring up chat again, please?
In 1 second.
Up.
Okay. If only you get rid of the X, Caradog. Yes, thank you. Old Razor keyboard, remove all the switches, meaning to redo. Yes! You might even get real mechanical switches then.
Yeah, well, buy some of these Duorocks, yeah. Actually, wait for the video to come out, because then I can put a affiliate link in the description. Wait until I can monetize you. Okay, there we go. Right.
You know what though? They feel all right in this keyboard.
I mean, if you want to take these and fill the keyboard with them and try them, because you've got hot swap, so you could just drop all of these in and try them out without going through the heartache that I've just had to go through today. My desoldering gun jammed while I was halfway through desoldering this, and I had to finish the rest of it with wick. It was awful.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They're markedly less nice than clears are for me.
Yeah.
But like they don't feel broken like they did in your keyboard.
Yeah. Right, so now I've just placed the PCB on the back there. Alright, so now begins all the soldering work.
Your switch puller is like a millimetre too small.
Yeah.
By default, it's like a millimetre too small to fit over the top of it.
Ah, I see. Weird.
It was like,
Don't forget to lick the stream, says Sai. Did you slice the foam? We did. I am caffeinated.
do you want another one?
Yeah. I was
Because
literally just thinking I'm gonna have a coffee or a cider, and honestly, I think I fancy a coffee right now. So yeah, if you want to turn on the coffee machine, yeah, it's going to be a ciderless stream. I'm sorry, JD. So what I might do, I might bring down the camera to a jaunty angle so you guys can see the soldering action, because this is the bit that everyone wants to see. Is just that I personally think it's very satisfying just to watch soldering happening. So yeah. It's also just very funny for the sheer amount of solder that I'm about to feed into this thing.
I will swap
It's going to get dank in
off of the bench cam
while I go,
before we wiggle it all around and make everyone violently ill. I'm intrigued as to how this is going to feel, just because I don't think these switches feel quite as nice as the clears.
Fair enough, yeah.
I think they're slightly less crisp.
Which
Which
I'm
is
just
a horrid-
move this monitor.
Which I was going to say is a horrid Ponzi kind of descriptor of pushing a thing that slides back and forth. But
Well,
like,
this is the thing, when you get down to keyboard customization and stuff like that, there is a lot of elitism and a lot of what's the term I'm
snobbery,
snobbery, yeah. What was
fanboyism,
what was the term we've been using for
Quackery?
coffee quackery and gourmet coffee artisanal? Yeah,
I mean, talking of coffee quackery,
yeah, we need to remake that with the new spinner.
I need you to make my new one.
Yeah, all right. We'll yeah, we'll have a look. We'll have a look at that.
There has been an unfortunate accident.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Well, it's just a couple of bent ones.
One of them is now at a jaunty angle.
Yeah.
There was a minor accident. I just put it on top of the filter and was just like,
Did you?
As I just munched it on the edge.
Whoops.
I was like, yes, mistakes. Hello.
Okay, right. Going for the low angle shot here. And a toasty. Hell yeah! I've been eating cheese toasties, cheese and chorizo toasties all week. It's been amazing. Okay.
I'm gonna sound incredibly basic and say, ham, boring, simple ham.
Ham and cheese toasty.
Boring, simple cheddar.
Yeah.
So good. Better than any of the fancy ones I've had.
See, I'm not. I'm super into chorizo, which is why I'm having cheese and chorizo.
Yeah.
But like, if it's something like a toasty, yeah, ham and cheese is very, very difficult to top. It's such a winner combination.
I'm just like, oh, yeah, no, I'm gonna do that now. I need a toasty maker for the office. I just need one of the
£15 from Tesco.
I just need one of the two bay ones.
Stolen from next week. Caradog coming in. He's like, so I'm getting into artisanal toasties, and I've got to buy this £1,000 cheese toasty, and I'm not allowed. We don't call them toasties anymore. They're paninis now, but I'm making them with regular bread. So it's a toasty.
Oh, actual panini press though.
Oh no, I'm giving him ideas. I regret everything.
Oh, and actually, yeah.
Don't overthink it, man. That's the beauty of it, the simplicity.
No,
Don't overthink it,
no,
Caradog.
No.
It was supposed to be a joke.
But actual paninis with actual panini bread, not baguettes, but actual.
Yeah, I understand, but
I'm just like, oh yeah, for like,
what have I done?
what, a $5 more for a panini press?
I don't know.
You know.
Okay, there we go. Here's the close-up view, everyone. All right. Cheese, ham and chorizo, red Leicester. Yeah.
Red Leicester and chorizo.
Yeah. That's what I've been... Red Leicester is my favourite cheese.
I guarantee it
yeah.
will contain 90% of your saturated fats
Yes.
in half a sandwich.
Yes. However, I've got thin privilege, baby.
There is about 14 kilos of you.
Yes. I'm just like, well, also at some point in my lifetime, the doctor is going to be like, that doesn't make you immune to cholesterol. I'm like, yes, it does. You know.
I'm pretty sure you weigh less than the Lancool 3.
Oh no. That's terrible, man. Turnip Gaming says it would sound better with adenoids. These clear switches are nicer than the brown switches. Yes. If you want to go pro, get that one that does both. Then you change the heat plates, and it also makes it easier to clean. It's true. It's true. You're not wrong, but also I don't know. I think we might suddenly turn Caradog into that one guy where you come up with a neat idea and say, I've been doing X, and then he comes back next week and he's just spent $1,000 doing it better than you. You know? So... George Foreman grill as a panini press. Yeah, that's a way of doing it. Yeah.
Oh, but it's not hinged in the right place. You get uneven pressing.
What, are you the panini expert now? Go and make coffee, Caradog. Right. I need the solder. Right, just to reiterate, a couple of people joining us, or I think it was that Dave Weldon who was asking how it got ruined? Yes. So just to reiterate how this keyboard got ruined, I've been in the middle of making a video about refurbishing this keyboard. The TLDR is that I got new Cherry MX brown switches and lubed them myself, but unfortunately I over-lubed them, and they're dull and they're mushy and they're ruined, basically. I will unruin them at some point by disassembling them and cleaning all of the lube out, and then I'll just have Cherry MX browns again. However, in the meantime, I've decided to re-switch the keyboard again with Durock T1s, which are slightly lubed in the factory, so these just feel really tasty just by default. So yeah. But yes, the video for this will be coming out soon, but this is a section that won't be in the video because it doesn't need to be. So yes, Si's buggering off to watch the sports. So yeah, all right, catch you later. And bye everyone else who's going to watch cars go around a track. Good, right, I'm going to start soldering. So the way I got started with this last time is I pressed down on each corner and tack the corners down so I know that the PCB will be flat. So let's do that. So I'm just going to press down on there and flood fill. That'll do. I'm just going to do that for one leg in each corner. New soldering machine review when? Yeah, soon. I am going to review the new soldering iron. It's great. I love it. But it's low on the priorities list because I've got other stuff that I've got other stuff that is overdue for review. I'm still working on the GK2. However, I'm actually going to write the script for the review for that this weekend because I've been doing a lot of printing. It's actually got a print running at the moment, and I'm ready to actually, share my thoughts on it. So because the Aixen soldering station, I've just bought that. Like, there's no time. There's no one who's hassling me saying, oh, you know, have you done the review yet? When's that going to get posted, kind of thing. So that's going to get done later on. All right, there we go. And last corner. Soon TM. Asun, yeah, it's A-I-X-U-N. I think we decided it was Azun or something like that. Right, there we go. So I've tacked down the corners, and I'll just get one in the middle as well for good measure. Good. All right. That should be all right. Okay, right. Now I'm going to start flying across the keyboard. Here we go, everyone. I'm going to read through the chat super quick. Do we have a Tassimo machine? Not quite. My coffee machine is an old Philips Sensio machine. So it is a pod machine, but it's one of the failed formats. But I can get pods for it super cheap on Amazon, which is why I still use it. Whee! The amount of solder that you have to feed into a keyboard is insane. And my technique for this is to feed in a bunch of solder, and then you'll notice that I just linger on the join for a moment, just to make sure that the solder is actually gripping the leg. Doo-doo. I got some great footage of this for the video that I hope is going to come out. I probably should have checked it before this podcast, just in case I wanted to get better shots, but should be all right. Some really nice, glorious, up-close ones. Yeah, don't breathe in here. Yeah, you've got to hold your breath now. You've got to hold your breath for the rest of the stream as well.
Breathing in the chemicals.
Forbidden incense. Imagine if they made... Actually, was that a thing that happened sometimes? I see that someone made scented flux. I'm sure I saw that somewhere. Don't forget to explain the changing color of the switches. Oh yes, that will. Yeah, there will be an explanation for that, because basically the point that the recording for the video had gotten up to was that I had just done this, put the foam in and reassembled, and basically all I had to do was just record the conclusion. However, I recorded the conclusion, but I was tired and it was just a really bad recording. So I was going to do a conclusion where I'm just like, yeah, it's fine, you know. However, then I made the decision that I was going to switch it again. So I'm going to record another sequence where I basically say it just wasn't what I wanted, and basically explain my decision again, where I could either just give up, write it off, and put it on display on the shelf behind us, or I could re-switch it again, basically. And I decided to re-switch it again. So yeah, that's where we're going. Assuming the soldering iron is you don't need 1,000 watts in a soldering iron.
No.
No, you need 1,000 watts in a hot air station, but soldering iron, this is 90 watts.
What temperature approximately is the air out of a hot air station? Is it in the same temperature range as a soldering iron?
Yeah, I mean, your set temperature, depending on what you're doing, your set temperature is between 380 and 450 centigrade.
Okay, so it's
yeah.
very similar aim point as the soldering iron. Okay.
However, of course,
I didn't know if they were aiming for like 500 degrees or something like that in a hot air station, just because you're kind of going,
yeah, transmitting that heat just through air is hilariously inefficient, but it's also just the only way to do it. So
Yeah. I'm really slightly sad because I was going to try and do a bit because you said to Si about him leaving to watch the F1.
Were you just going to start watching the F1 on your phone?
I tried to bring up the F1, but it won't work. I was just going to be like, oh yes, I'm sorted.
I nearly said to you earlier on, like I said jokingly in the
exclusive chat.
In the exclusive chat, I said, "Is Caradog about to pull a sickie?" Because, like that, no joke, that was an open invitation for you to be like, "Actually, I'd kind of sit at home and watch the F1 this afternoon."
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, fair enough.
So I can I'll just watch it later tonight.
Yeah, all right. This is a spoiler-free zone, everyone. So yeah, no F1 spoilers.
However, F1 Academy spoilers.
I don't know what that is.
It's the women's racing league, effectively.
Oh, rad. Is there women's F1 then? Like that?
No, it's Formula 4.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's called F1 Academy. And they live stream the races to YouTube for free.
Shock horror, women's sports are actually really cool, but no one pays attention to them.
Yeah. Guess what? F1 Academy has a problem.
Oh,
and its name is Pan.
Okay.
They qualified first for the first, so they follow the same like F2, F3, F4 weekend setup.
Yeah.
So they have 2 races on a weekend generally. They qualified in pole position for the first race by like a second over the person in second. Then they qualified first for the second race over the person in second by like a second.
Yeah.
So this is like, I see.
Yes, so they have that one driver that's just ridiculously faster than everyone else and is basically untouchable.
Yes, and it was just like, I see. So in F1 we have Verstappen.
Yeah.
In F2 we have Vorcher. And in F1 Academy we have Pan. Is this how it's gonna go?
I see.
Well, yes. Like, oh well.
Jason says, I finally used your pine sill on fixing the front panel I/O. Thanks to the Discord at home for some feedback and tips. Awesome.
Sweet.
Yes, this is grand. Yes. Yes, I've got to fix the pine sills at some point. They're sitting to one side, and I just...
If both worked, and you were doing just big through-hole simple stuff like this, would you pick up the pine sill now that you have this station?
Yes. Like, no, I was going to use my TS100 today on the bench, just so I didn't have to pull this out from over there. However, it wasn't too wired in, so it wasn't too much trouble. And instead of going, because like, if you asked me where the TS100 is right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I just know it's over there somewhere. So because we were running late, I was just like, just get the T3B out, you know. However, I was going to use my TS100, which is basically the mini-wear pine sill, or rather the pine sill is basically the Pine 64 TS100, you know.
They are all much the same.
They are still 100% valid soldering irons. You know, like Pianov was saying the other week when we were talking about these, Pianov still is using a pine sill.
Yeah.
Or was he using a TS100? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he was using one of those. He was using
one of those 60 watt electronics. Majobbies.
Still 100% valid. Yeah. The only reason why I was moving up to a bigger one instead of, you know, was just simply because I need options for big stuff. And by big stuff, I mean the Xbox Series X and the PS5.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've actually had my soldering iron just literally not be able to do it.
Yeah. Is this handle the one that can take the slightly larger tips?
I don't know, is the answer to that.
So you haven't actually, you didn't buy it with slightly larger tips than what you already had?
No.
You've got the same size?
Yeah, I prioritised going for something that was similar to what I used all the time already. This might actually be too small for doing the Xbox with. However, it's got more grunt, so I'm thinking this might be able to just brute force it because it's there's not a lot of thermal mass in this tip, but it's also got 90 watts getting pumped into it.
So it is actually full 90 watts?
It should be, apparently.
Yeah, cool, okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if you needed like the bigger handle for that.
Yeah. Its heat up speed certainly infers that, because this thing heats up scarily fast.
Yeah.
Like I thought the pine seal was pretty rapid in coming up to temperature. This thing is literally a couple of seconds from stone cold to 400.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry about the, Yeah. I'm accustomed to just managing it. Unfortunately, we've got the fan on in the room, but it's not reaching over here very well. That's more of just a broad cycle the air in the room rather than a deal with what's coming up on the bench.
Yes, slightly larger tips. And if you'd like to give us a tip.
Yes.
No. Imagine having sponsor spots.
I know, right?
As JD keeps saying, I just need to steal your email logins. Hello, yes, I am the Graham.
Unironically, not a terrible idea. Call me.
I would like you to give me money.
Yeah. I just...
Hello, I am Graham from Microsoft. I hear you have a problem with your computer.
Is your fridge running?
Yes, you better get after it.
Yeah. I just hate accepting help from people whom I'm not going to be able to pay.
Well, if you do 4 sponsor spots a month, and I take 50%, you will have paid for me.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of true, actually, yeah.
And it will take like 15 seconds of emailing.
Yeah.
Because you type the email once, you copy it, you open the next email, you paste it.
I mean, that's what they're doing with me, isn't it? Yeah. We've been following your channel with interest. Yeah, of course you have.
Or, because I now use Enterprise 365, I use whatever the hell the Enterprise AI is called from Microsoft, and just go, please construct me emails to reply to sponsor offers.
Not a terrible idea.
Whatever their implementation of ChatGPT 4 is.
You know, that's actually, unironically, that's actually the thing that kind of, this is kind of the thing that bothers me, is we're so stiff now that we are, in our mannerisms, Caradog, in our mannerisms.
Excuse me.
We're so antisocial that we need an AI to communicate with other humans for us, because we can't just say what we want to say. We have to conduct ourselves with the utmost propriety.
All right, enter Shikari.
Yeah. So yeah, and like, yeah. Like, I could just respond to an email and be like, yeah, the rate is this, tell me what you want, and just actually be just upfront with people instead of...
you can do that.
Yeah.
Because that's literally all I do.
Yeah. Like, it does beg the question, what's stopping you from doing that? Nothing is the answer. Absolutely nothing.
Greetings, insert name here. We at insert company name here are interested in your channel. We have insert time period here been watching your channel.
How to tell when a viewer's never watched one of my videos through to the end. They call me Adam. My name's on every end card.
Or maybe it should be on your title card as well.
Unironically, I keep meaning to have a title card, because like a lot of YouTubers do this, and like a lot of channels do this now.
Just on the intro.
Yeah,
just take the.
Yeah, it just comes up with the name at the beginning of the video, saying who it is that the presenter is.
I am Jeff.
Martin says, I can almost smell the flux from here. Yeah, the amount of solder that these are big through holes. you have to put in so much. The amount of weight in this that is just solder is ridiculous.
It is literally a lead weight.
Yes.
One thing I will say about the soldering iron, though, it looks nicer in the hand. Like I said, it's just because of the rubberized grip bits and things like that.
Yeah,
It does look like a product that is more expensive.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Muerto or Floor Lamp, but they were saying how one of the things that they really liked about this setup was how short the tip was. So your hand is closer, so you're not using a wand from all the way back here. Your hands are right down close, so you've got really good precision with it, and that's absolutely true. Although one of the slight drawbacks of that is the Pinesil has got a mulligan zone where like the top inch or so doesn't actually get that hot. So if you just clip the edge of it kind of thing, you're not going to instantly demolish your finger. Whereas on this, like everything there is the no-no zone.
Is the metal collar hot? Clearly not.
No, yeah, I was going to say I'm holding...
The fact that you had to think about it answers the question.
I routinely have burns on the ends of my fingers, so just sometimes I have to hold my finger there for a sec to actually be like, yeah, no, that's still burning, you know. Yeah, you haven't been soldering long if you don't have asbestos fingers.
If I opened a repair shop, I'd just call it We Don't Fix Printers. I agree, Steve. I agree. Also, Ian asks about what you're trying to do, and basically you're replacing the switches on a mechanical keyboard.
That's right. So just as a recap, what we've got here, this is the back of a keyboard deck. So you can see the keyboard layout there. I'm soldering in new switches. So I've just put new switches into this keyboard and we're soldering them in. This is as opposed to a lot of modern enthusiast keyboards that are hot swap, where the switches are socketed so you can just pull them out. These ones are all soldered in. So I'm soldering in new switches. There is a story behind why I'm soldering new switches onto this keyboard, but that will be, I've explained it twice already, and it will be revealed again when the video for this comes out, which isn't going to be this week, but I am going to start editing it this weekend. It won't be out this weekend though, just simply because it's going to be a long edit, and also I already have a video ready to go.
Ah, good.
So yes, in
Excellent.
fact, I think I've got 2 videos. Yeah, I have 2 videos ready to go.
Does that mean you're actually, at the moment, managing to maintain roughly a video ahead of
Yeah,
publish?
I could have had 2 videos out this week. However, at the moment, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hold the videos that are done and just start queuing videos so I can get ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Because it also means that, like, there are just some weekends where I'm just like, man, I don't want to spend my whole Sunday editing a video, or like, I'm away tomorrow, so I'm not going to be able to anyway now I think about it. So yeah, it just means that I'm actually going to be ahead of schedule for once, and it also means that the exclusive people will actually get videos ahead of schedule, which is kind of nice. And if I can get to the point where I can maintain that, that'd be cool. And actually have an incentive to be in a Patreon instead of it being a tip jar.
I mean, the incentive is that you get to talk to me in the exclusive chat.
It's true. Yeah. There is a lot.
Graham even checks once a week.
Yeah, no, I do try and show people in the exclusive room what I'm up to, and like when I've got a picture of something that I'm working on, my preference is to post it in the exclusive room, not just in PixDump, just because that's the point. You get to see more behind the scenes stuff. However, yeah, and I need to remind the people in Patreon, just say, hey, look, I know I don't post here as much, but if you hang out in the Discord, that's where I'm actually posting stuff because it's convenient for me to do so. Posting on Patreon is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it has to kind of be a project post.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to compose the post, write the post, attach files to it.
Write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah, it's why Patreon never sees updates, and I feel bad about that, but it's just the reality of it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't want to use Discord because they don't want just another platform that they have to keep up with.
Yeah.
Or they're just not people who sit in chat rooms, and that's fair enough as well. Like, that's not something that I relate to because I do sit in chat rooms, but I understand that that's not how everyone does their thing.
Yeah. It's like I specifically removed the link between Patreon and Discord because of patrons I was on that forcibly added you to Discords.
Yes, that's a very annoying fault. I've seen that happen in friends' Discords before, where there's someone they've had members who get forcibly pushed into the server at the start of every month, and then be like, "Hi, Patreon forced me in here. I still don't want to be here, so I'm leaving. Keep up the good work," And it actually got to the point where certain people said, "Look, in the night, I'm supporting your work, but I don't actually care about being in this Discord. Could you ban me so Patreon stops adding me every week?" The reason why I haven't unlinked my account is there are other exclusive Discords that I am active in, and Patreon just doesn't give you that option.
Yeah, my result in the end was just to make another Patreon account. And just bounce stuff around between those ones.
Yeah, it's a bit janky though.
So yeah. And also the other thing I discovered is that with Monzo I can put any name I want on the card.
Yeah.
So it'll let me just put any name I want as the card holder's name, and it will accept it. So it was a case of having mixed details and things like that across different accounts. There wasn't any issues with that on Patreon and so on. So you could have different email address, different payment numbers, different this and that and so on. And it gives you virtual cards. So it's just like, oh. Not that I need to pretend to be someone completely different, but it's the case that I was just like, oh, if Patreon randomly kicks up a fuss and says oh, these payment details are used on a different Patreon. Is this fraudulent?
Yeah.
I could just be like, what details? Delete. New details. Monzo is effectively a banking app in the UK.
Yeah. They're a digital-only bank, aren't they, basically?
Yeah, basically. And I use them as my primary account.
Do you get a physical card with Monzo?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you can have a physical card.
Yeah. And it is day glow colouring.
Wow. Yeah, you won't lose that in the dark, will you?
Right?
Yeah.
It's proper day glow colouring. There was a small period of time where I was really, really tempted because they were offering fancy metal cards and stuff. I was like, oh, you know what? That's kind of cool.
A metal card? No.
I was like, oh, that's kind of cool and stuff. And maybe. And then I was just like, yeah, but also I'm not spending 150 quid on a card and stuff.
Yeah, no. That's not something that you need. Right, let's do that, just while I straighten things out.
Is it more beneficial to have a PayPal account than a Patreon account? I would say that you use them in very different ways. Certainly as a content creator receiving money, you'd also use them in very different ways. And the issue with using PayPal for anything kind of content creatory, tip jar-y, is that PayPal often freezes payments or holds payments.
PayPal is not a bank.
Under, sort of fraud checks and stuff.
Yeah.
And also the fact of PayPal is not registered is not regulated like a bank in the UK.
So they can just hold your money and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, they are regulated as a payment processor.
Yeah.
So don't hold money in PayPal.
Yeah. I use PayPal to pay for things, and my card machine is a Zettel machine, so that my check for that comes through from PayPal.
Oh, really?
However, that is direct payment into my account. It doesn't go into a PayPal account.
Yeah, it doesn't go into a PayPal credit.
Yeah, and I don't have to withdraw it from a PayPal account. Therefore, as far as I'm concerned, it cannot be frozen. Or
certainly not in the same way.
Yeah,
but
or the worst case scenario is just a single payment from them might get hung up. However, because I'm not leaving just like if they were paying into a PayPal account, it would be very tempting for me to just let that money stack up in a PayPal account and withdraw it once a month or something like that. And then suddenly you might have a few grand stuck in that account that might get frozen, and then you're in trouble. But yeah, because they just pay directly into my bank account every week or so, it's not actually a problem. And the worst case scenario is a bearable situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically a case of, in my humble opinion, I would avoid using PayPal as someone who is receiving money and only use it as someone who is sending money.
Agreed.
So only use it for when you are purchasing from something else.
Yeah.
Personally. Obviously you do you, but that's certainly how I try and use it.
I should move away from Zettel at some point.
Yeah,
but,
you should get a fixed PDQ. Because you'll also probably find you save a bunch in fees.
Well, the quote-unquote real machine providers, they nickel and dime you on everything. You know, that the fees look cheaper, but then they're like, oh, it's going to cost you this amount per month your merchant services have a flat fee of this amount a month. You've got to buy the machine that's going to cost you like £200 or something like that, and you've got to pay rental on that machine as well every month or something like that. And just you look at it and you're like, wow, what? This is costing loads. Why am I doing? And this is why so many small businesses are staying on cash and refusing to get card machines, because they've had that experience. They've had that experience where they look at it all and they're like, I'm not paying all of this. This is ridiculous, you know. And like, say what you like about Zettel and Square and so on, but just having a machine where they're just taking just like, you know, 1% or 0.5% or whatever it is, it's fairly reasonable of each transaction. It's not bad. It's simple, if nothing else.
Yeah. It would be a case of just doing the calculation for what the monthly volume is. Because if the monthly volume's only like, you know, £800 or something, for it to then become cheaper to have a fixed one. It's a case of that's not a high target to achieve.
Yeah. No flux cleanup. There's not enough flux there to be worth it. It's only the flux that's come out of the solder. If I'd been adding extra flux, then I would be a bit more worried. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Joseph asks, he's been looking at using a Monzo for his business account. How have I found it? I've not used it as a business account just because what I do as a business they don't get involved with, because they don't do any sort of trust or client or anything like that sort of accounts. And also, as far as I can tell, they basically only want to deal with people who are sole traders. So yeah, but based off of using them for personal banking, I would imagine that they'd be great.
Yeah.
I would imagine they would be great as long as you don't need to deal with cash and checks. If all you're dealing with is electronic payments in one way or another, so credit, debit card, or faster payment, then yeah, that'll be absolutely fine. They support chaps if you need to use chaps, but you know, there's a whole bunch of money on that because chaps payments are an entirely different kettle of fish.
Very well.
Yeah.
Right, as you can see, folks, I'm now putting my keycaps on.
Yeah.
Shh. Just going to move the phone to somewhere where I can't hear it, and also just so it's on charge, otherwise I'll forget.
Yeah. Greedy Poet, for sort of receiving tips and receiving sort of little bits and stuff from being a content creator, if you are looking for just kind of one-off tips and little bits here and there, as JD says, the kind of Buy Me a Coffee or the Ko-Fi website.
Yeah.
Those things, they're very good. They're very non-committal for sort of any sort of contract or anything like that.
Ko-Fi's great.
And from what I understand, the fees on it are actually tiny.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fees are. I've not actually looked, but people have told me that they are very low.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what it is off the top of my head, but it is very low.
Have you got one?
I don't think there's an Adamant IT one. I've got a personal Ko-fi for other projects.
Yeah. Is that how your Twitch stream ones are linked up, or is that through slobs?
Oh
or
no,
something?
no. I think I have one set up for Twitch. It's just not linked anywhere. That's where my personal one is. I remember now. I was like, I couldn't remember where it was. I just remember I've gone through the setup for it at some point. However, yeah, my main Twitch ones are using Stream Elements. However, yes, I've set up Ko-fi for that before, and I think I just have that linked into my PayPal anyway. But it is possible to set up Ko-fi to. I think you can. I forget now. It's been ages since I've set it up, but Ko-fi is very good. I think the value of Ko-fi is if you want to take PayPal payments as a tip. One of the problems is that you can't really have a pay. There's not. All you can really do is send someone the PayPal.me page, which is just a very contextless thing. Whereas with Ko-fi, you can make your own profile and be like, "This is me. This is what I do." You have a profile that shows what you're doing, and then there's a donate button kind of thing. So it allows you to add context. So you're not just sending money to a random PayPal account, you're making a donation to this person's profile. And it's really nice presentation, I think, is the important thing there. I'm going to have to look at a keyboard to help me get started. I've got one here, I don't need your stupid Keychron. I've got a better keyboard.
Apparently I can't post the link to Ko-fi in the chat.
Oh, I see. It's probably because you didn't HTTPS or something, or...
Neither of them would send, so it's just like, okay.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, it's ko-fi.com.
Yeah. Bizarre.
But yes, that is a recommended method. 5, 6, 7. F1.
Oh yeah, and then there is literally buymeacoffee.com. Ha, fair enough.
Oh yeah. Yep. Scroll. Where's scroll lock go?
I don't have a scroll lock.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Scroll lock is in the middle of those ones. Yeah, it is print screen, scroll lock, pause. I can never remember what way round that group is. Oop.
Oh, we've been signed out.
Oh no.
So it's just popped up with a thing saying unable to connect to chat, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's why we couldn't send the message. We
should probably try and fix that. I don't think it's going to tank the stream if we sign in again.
No.
I'm 99% certain that we can just refresh and sign in without breaking everything.
I also need the password, though. Because you're not signed into LastPass either.
Oh, my days. Okay.
You are not signed into anything. You have been unverified.
Oh, that's fine. It's just the bottom row I've got wrong here. For a minute, I thought I'd put all of the keys offset to the left, and I was about to scream. BNM greater than.
Johnny the Fixer. I fell foul of cheap solder from AliExpress. What do you recommend? Do you actually even have any ideas about modern
No, I was about
solders?
to say, I'm going to have to put that one to the floor because the soldering spool that I have, this came out of my granddad's house about 20 years ago, and it wasn't new when it came out of his attic either. This is from the dawn of time, this solder spool. It's just... A spool of solder will last you a very, very long time, especially when it's a massive spool like this. So this is just some archaic stuff. I've got no idea what it is. I've got no idea what the composition is. The only disadvantage of it is that it's too thick for the work that I do. But yeah, it's a shame that, I do need to find out what stuff Muerto uses because he recommends that.
Yeah,
and that's the stuff that Sai had last weekend. And I meant to write it down, But yeah.
I know that Floor Lamp said all of the soldering recommendations and stuff are in one of the Discords you're in.
Oh yeah, that's right. I need to go in there and just rob their recommended equipment list. Oh, there's another thing that I said I was going to do, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get that done around Christmas, maybe, as a special treat.
If the merch isn't out by October, I'm in danger.
I'll just fall back to my usual catchphrase of I don't want to talk about this anymore. JKL
N
colon then double quote.
P.
What's that? That's caps lock. Home.
Was it October? I can't remember, JD. You're the one who was nagging.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Are these new keycaps?
No. These are the these keycaps have been on here for a while. Oh, that stabilizer's still buggered. Yeah. The stabilizers are overlubed as well. I should have taken them off while I had the chance, but I'm just going to put a spot of alcohol into the stabilizers just to free them up.
Do you have bar stabilizers?
Yes. These are known as plate stabilizers because they're bar stabilizers that are mounted to the plate.
As opposed to the ones I've got on here.
Yeah.
Which are a different style.
Yeah.
Which I will demonstrate momentarily.
I'm going to... I'm just squirting a bit of alcohol into these stabilizers. That one's okay. I think it's the return key that was...
Yeah.
The return key and the right shift was particularly bad. Oh no, those are plate stabilizers, I think. Those are the same design as mine.
Oh, so you haven't... I thought you said you had a bar.
There is a bar connecting them.
Yeah. Oh no, there is...
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the bar is under the plate.
Because these just go into these plastic mounts.
Yeah, that's the same as here. But as you can see, there is a bar connecting them underneath the plate.
Oh, I see. Oh, instead of a design like I've got on my code keyboards, where there's actually a metal loop that comes up, and that metal loop connects to the keycap.
I see. Yeah. No. Oh, that's still sticking. Oh, balls. That's big problems. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Right. Let's see if I can free those up. Oh, that doesn't feel bad. How come that's seizing up? That's fine.
As Steve says, if the merch isn't out by October, I reckon we take the matters into our own hands and just create it ourselves. I'm good with crayons. Pianov says, generally any local brand for leaded solder, 6040 or 6337 with flux core is fine.
Yeah. I don't think having really fancy solder is that important. It's more a matter of making sure that it's like vaguely the right composition, like 6040, and also just, I think the other thing is just knowing what size solder to get, which is one of my weak points, because like what thickness to buy. Like, this is fairly thick boy stuff, but if you ask me what the correct thickness is, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I need a UK keyboard. Shift, hash goes there. I've got those wrong. Whoop. Ah.
Yes.
Whoop. 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 So yes, to answer the question, no, these are not new keycaps, but they're in fairly good condition. I changed them about a year ago anyway. And these are just generic cheap keycaps this style is called pudding, where you have a semi-transparent base with a black top and shine through on it. And pudding keycaps are, I think they look kind of generic, but they're very, very good for showing off backlights because the whole key illuminates. So yeah, they're very pretty. I wanted to get some nice, cool, fancy keycaps for this, just to commemorate the changes to the keyboard. But because this is UK layout, and we've got like the big return key and stuff like that, finding keycaps that are shine through and ISO layout is extremely difficult. So in the end, I was just like, sod it, I'm just staying with the puddings. I went through pages and pages on AliExpress looking for alternatives.
Yeah, you're looking at like 20 quid, maybe.
For a set of puddings,
15 to 20 quid, I would guesstimate at.
Yeah, just to get a set like these, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. I think this might even be the set that I have, just because it has a UK, US layout for 61%, 68%, 84%, 96%, 104.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and it's just like, yes, it has all the options ever.
I have never bought a set of keycaps with that has actually come with correct set for your ISO layout. Both times because the sharp-eyed among you will notice I've got 2 backslash keys. I don't have a hash key for this keyboard because the sets that say they were Euro just didn't come with the correct keys. So yeah, I had to fill in some blanks a little bit. And likewise, this Euro layout, it only had a single, single, 2, 3, and double quote, which means even though this is a UK layout, the @ symbol and double quote are the wrong way round, and the 3 has the hash symbol on it instead of the sterling symbol. So even then, it's still wrong. And this is, again, one of the reasons why, if you're getting into custom keyboards, just get a US layout. And just learn US layout and just avoid the heartache.
Yeah.
Although, obviously, if you're European and you need all your accent letters, then, well, sucks to be you, I guess. What is wrong with these keycaps? It looks like I didn't wreck these stabilizers. I just can't get that to return properly.
Yeah.
That's not an over-lubing problem. That's just the stabilizer just isn't doing its job properly problem. That's kind of interesting because I thought I had wrecked it, but actually, ow, crunchy. That's something else going on there. This is kind of a problem because
is it just at the wrong angle?
It must be. Yeah, this is kind of problematic because I've got to desolder the entire keyboard to get the stabilizers out. I wasn't anticipating this because I was sure. I just assumed it was because I'd overlubed everything. I was like, I won't need to take the stabilizers out. But yeah, I'm sure with some fettling I can get these right. They've got a little bit of give in them. Yeah, that's not stiff. I hadn't overlubed them or anything.
No, is the angle slightly wrong on it?
Yeah, it must be. But I can't visibly see. I'm just gonna jiggle them just so they've got some movement on them.
Jiggled. Aggressively jiggles.
You've got to waggle super hard. All right, let's try that again. Yeah, it's still. Yeah, just the stabilizers are no good, man. That's the other thing I learned while doing this is unless your stabilizers are literally broken, don't bother changing them. It's just not worth it, I don't think. Okay, that might be an off-camera fix, that one. The enter key wasn't giving me this much trouble last time, but that's actually not returning now. That's literally just not standing up. That's worse than it was before.
Is the switch just not?
Well, the
straight effectively by comparison.
The stabilizer is just binding up. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to look real close to see what the actual problem. I think I'm going to have to just look real close to see what the problem with that is, which I think I'm not going to do that now, I don't think, because that's going to be me spending 15 minutes just staring really closely at it, very slowly moving it and trying to watch what the fault is. Yeah, I think we'll come back to that one. However, those are very crispy.
Ah, crispy.
And that's very much fixed now.
The keyboard I'm ruining is not unruining.
Yeah. Those are very, very tactile, though. I can't think what's wrong with those. Unless... Yeah, no, those stabilizers come all the way up to the top.
Yeah.
Gonna try one more time. You could probably switch to face cam now, because I think we're done with the bench cam shots at the very least. Oh. Nice sound. Oh, is it coming across? Good. Right, I'm just gonna really press that down and just see. Maybe it'll free up with some abuse, because like when I originally finished on the keyboard and the keys were a bit sticky, I thought I'm going to wait a week just to see if they bed in and free up, kind of thing. Shut up. So I might do the same thing and just see if the stabilizers settle again. Because just with some use and just, you know, a little bit of abuse, they might just resolve themselves. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do some experimenting to figure that out. Because, yeah, that's... Yeah, I need to sit down and figure out where that's from. However, that sounds very tasty. So, hang on a sec. Clackety clack. And unmodded keyboard comparison. Much louder. Well, just don't press the enter or right shift.
I thought
caps lock is not stabilized, no.
I thought caps lock was wonky as well. And I was just like,
although
okay.
Actually also some of those keys might not be quite straight because I've put the keycaps on, but I haven't gone. I need to go along each keycap and go press. You're definitely on properly, kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is the moment Graham snatches defeat from the jaws of victory. Yeah, well, certainly with that enter and right shift, I'm very annoyed about that because, like I say, I can't take the stabilizer out without desoldering the whole sodding keyboard again. So, like...
Can you desolder the stabilizer on its own?
No, because the stabilizer comes out from under the plate, which means the PCB has to come off.
And how is it mounted?
Again, it comes in and out from under the plate. So
right, but is it mounted to the plate or to the PCB?
It's mounted to the plate. But you can't lift it out from above. It's an interference fit.
No, I'm saying can you unmount it and remount it without? So just jiggle it around. Can you unclip it and jiggle it around?
I don't think there's enough space. I could try. Pass it here, actually.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at that. So yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I like that.
Yes, I'm very happy with that result. And like this is a noisy desk. I think once I'm at home on a more stable desk that's got that's got better legs on it and stuff like that, and it's sitting on a mat as well, it will be even quieter than that. And that's already fairly muted in my opinion. I don't think the noise is a
problem.
Well, the noise silence is what I was going for. I wanted silence.
Yeah.
But also it feels nice as well as being silent. That's a
Yeah,
really...
the typing feel is good.
Yeah, the tactile is really noticeable on that, which is, yeah, this is the feel that I really wanted and that I just didn't have at the start.
Yeah.
However, those stabilizers are a problem. That's a big problem. I don't know what's wrong there. Right, I'm gonna... Yeah, there's no clearance for those to move. Like, I could bust those out if I had to, but I won't be able to put other ones in. Although, arguably, of course, I could just go no stabilizers. That's something that I could do as an act of desperation.
Can you force... so how does this actually work? Because does the middle bit effectively actuate? No, it doesn't go down.
They're not sprung, so if you grab them with the tweezers,
it's only coming up.
Yeah, and it relies on the switch to push everything back up again.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, when I bought new stabilizers, I expected them to be a bit more exotic and like have their own springs and stuff like that. And those are Durock stabilizers as well. They're not cheap ones. I bought branded ones, and they're basically exactly the same as the cheap ones that were in there from the factory. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's disappointing. I'll fit them anyway because I've got them. But, yeah. Ian says, my first foray into mechanical keyboards were Razor Greens. A pneumatic drill is quieter than them. Yeah, Razer very much want their switches to be noticeable. They want all of your friends to know that you've got a Razer, basically, for better or for worse.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
The keycap is sitting high for that row.
Well, I'll have a...
Yeah, it is sitting slightly up.
Yeah, ever so slightly, yeah.
So I just wonder if
I'm going to just carry on just munging that about and just see if it...
Yeah, it's the...
Oh, I may have just fixed it, actually. Kind of. I've just made it better than it was, anyway. Oh, I think that's just come good, actually. Well, not quite. It's not 100% there, but it's bearable now.
Yeah.
I think that's going to solve itself with use, because...
yeah, because it is a case just that it does sit.
It can...
It's the left, it's the left stabilizer, I think.
It's just gotten better, though, because when I first put it on, it was actually just... I was physically having to pull the key up. However, now we've just got it to the point where if it stays down, another tap and it will come back up. So I actually think that's going to bed in. And also, I found that just really pressing down and pulling back has sort of solved that. I'm going to see if I can do the same thing with the Enter key now.
Please do not the keyboard. Breaks the desk.
Oh yeah, I'm going to roughhouse it because it's got to work. The YouTube rig just suddenly decided to wake up. The weird thing is, the top one is fine. That's the backspace is stabilized. No problem at all there.
Yeah.
No issues. So yeah, I might have to, that might need some dirty modifications to make good. Because I ain't desoldering this keyboard again.
Not yet.
Yeah, it'll ride up with wear. Yeah, I think so. Did you lube the stabs, or are they stock? Originally I lubed them, and when I initially put the keyboard back together again, I was thinking if they're sticky, I'll put some alcohol on them just to get rid of the lube, which is what I've just done, but that hasn't actually solved the issue at all, and I have a suspicion that the lube wasn't actually the problem with the stabilizers. I might just try seeing if I can get some more in there, but also they're not stiff. Although, yeah, I'm going to poke some more lube in there and just see what happens. Because they're not switches, I can always just squirt a bit of alcohol in them to dissolve the lube again. So, yeah I'm going to get the... where's my lube? All right.
Where is my bag of keyboard parts?
Yeah. Along with all the old switches. I've got, like... Does anyone want to buy some MX Browns? I have, like, 160 of them now. So, yeah.
They have all been restored.
Mm-hmm.
What's the phrasing used on eBay? Oh yes, refurbished by a
by a third party. Yeah.
yes.
I turned it on and it seemed to work, so that's fine. I've confirmed this works. That means it's refurbished.
I have cleaned off the suspicious stains from this laptop.
Half the time they don't even do that.
I mean, that counts as, refurbished.
Yeah.
We should put lube on the keycap. Just fill up the hole.
That doesn't solve it. That doesn't work.
So it can just go.
Weird. I can't figure out why it's binding up. That's the annoying thing.
Yeah.
It must be the angle. Yeah. All right. What else is
Hole filling.
Yes. Right. We need a new topic. While I fight this.
About that time, eh, chaps?
Yes, righto.
Fiddles incessantly.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to see if I can improve this, but, like, this isn't exciting to watch. Right. Oh, you know what? I might be able to get that stabilizer out if I just desolder the return key, actually. That might be fixable. Oh, I think that can be done, actually. I thought they had to come out from the back, but I think that can actually be solved. So yeah, I might start taking this apart again in a minute. But
I might start taking this apart for the third time to desolder it for the third time.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
But it also could be a case that you've got, just the stabilizers aren't straight.
They've got a little bit of wobble on them, so they should be able to just self-center, but...
Yeah. At the same time,
I'm going to see if I can get that stabilizer out while we chat.
If you can actually just get the stabilizer
Yeah.
gone, then it answers the question.
That's annoying. All right, it's coming apart again. Okay, right, come on, chat, help me out. We need something to talk about while I take apart my keyboard again.
And then you just break the casing, and you're like, well, fine.
Oh, it already happened once. When I brought it in to start work on it, the first thing I did was knock it off the counter. So now it's got a crack on the side of it, and I'm just like, yeah. So, yeah. It's not terrible, it's fine. Like, you wouldn't notice it if you didn't know about it. It's just one of those, like...
It's like the
Fuck you
edges
too,
on that.
buddy. Yeah.
It's kind of scuffed. Aluminium frame. Since you know, what are the best fans to buy? Well, that depends. Because there are some fans you can buy that are like 200 CFM.
Yeah, I guess. What are you cooling?
Jesus wept.
Yeah.
The I can't remember what they're called. But yeah, and like 11 millimeters of aqua for static pressure, but they're also like 65 decibels. like, ah, yes.
Yeah, what do I think of the new Fractal North XL? I haven't looked at the reviews for it. However, I like the Fractal North in general. I get if you're running a really big graphics card, then the XL might be for you. I'm not a fan of really huge cases though, and I say this as someone who has what is essentially a Torrent XL, but also I don't like the size of the Torrent.
I say that as someone with a very large.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to grab some wick to extract a couple of switches.
You killed his dog.
Oh, I'm going to be really wasteful with wick here, so I'm not going to show anyone what I'm doing. Anyway.
Quick, turns off camera. New thoughts English. Thoughts on the new Arctic freezers.
Oh yeah,
boy, they do look good value for money.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm super like my biggest issue with the liquid freezer has always been that I think it's hideous, basically.
Yeah.
And if you don't care about looks, no issue. It's one of the best water coolers on the market, hands down. But if you care about looks, I think it's hideous, quite frankly. However, the Liquid Freezer 3 basically solves that problem entirely as far as I'm concerned. I think it looks great. We were looking at one at Size Place last weekend, and I was super impressed by it. So I'm actually quite excited to say, you know, sod it. That's my go-to cooler at this point, because it's pretty hard to justify any other high-end cooler because that exists now.
It's certainly good, yeah. And it help, yeah. Obviously, it massively helps that the performance is actually there. So how much is the 280? Yeah, it's just the black 280 is 60 quid, and then the ARGB 280 is £71.
Yeah, 60 quid for a 280mm water cooler that tops the charts. That's nuts.
Yeah. Or the liquid, or the 240 is
yeah.
£54.
Yeah, so like even if you've got a mid-range CPU and you don't want to spend big money on cooling because it's mid-range, but you want something that looks swish, you just buy one of those.
Yeah.
You know, like if you've got a Ryzen 5 or an i5 where, you know, you're not actually putting down that much heat, but you still want a water cooler because they look cool, you just buy that.
Yeah.
Because like 50 quid, that's what a decent brand air cooler costs.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, I don't understand how they're so cheap.
Yeah.
Like, what's the catch? What is this game that Arctic is playing? You know.
Yeah.
It's super good. Yeah, I'm all about the Liquid Freezer 3. I'm very happy about it. I wasn't sure about the fake sort of turbine front look at first, but when I saw it in real life, I was like, that's kind of cool. My only other problem with it is the RGB. Oh my god, the RGB. That's 420mm for £70, £71. You know.
Yeah.
My only problem with the ARGB version is it's got the same problem that other Arctic RGB products have had. Is that the RGB on it is very washed out. It looks very pretty on its own, but it won't color match the rest of your RGB, which is a bit of a bummer. So that's one of the big catches. The RGB on it will not look the same as everything else. It looks great on its own, but it won't match the rest of your system. So you need to keep that in mind if you're building an RGB setup with it.
But that will keep some people exceedingly happy. White, ARGB, and it's £85.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, there we go.
Whereas the non-white, non-ARGB is £70, so it's only 15 quid for it being white and RGB.
Right, I lied. I can get the stabilizer out the top. I don't know why. I just had it in my brain that they had to come in from the bottom.
So if you put the keycap on now, I presume it functions absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Without the stabilizer in there.
I was going to say, what I'm going to do now is just look for my old stabilizers, because there's functionally nothing wrong with the old ones. I just changed them because I could. This is probably going to be horrible because the switch isn't soldered in, but...
Yeah, that functions, that actuates correctly.
It's unstabilized, so it's just like, whoa! You know.
But it's also the case of it functions correctly.
Yes. Yeah.
Here is my key removal method.
Right, I may as well do this one while we're here then. Oh,
yeah, the Arctic ARGB is pastel, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, again, don't get me wrong, on its own, it looks gorgeous, and like, the diffusion on it looks brilliant, but it's washed out, and I'm like, did you guys do that deliberately? Because if you did, that was a mistake. Like, the point of RGB is that you can make it any color you want. If you've got hardware that is enforcing a certain color scheme, that defies the point. And yeah, it's kind of a crying shame, as, again, considering like the reason why I'm excited is that they look pretty. And if people are just like, well, I don't care about looks, it's like, well, you're not buying RGB then, are you? So why do you care?
Yeah. The other thing I'm very pleased to see is that there isn't a 120mm version.
Was there a 120 of the Liquid Freezer 2?
Not sure, but it's just a case of I'm just very pleased to see that there isn't a 120 or a 140 version. Yeah,
because there are still a couple of 120mm AIOs out there where you're like, why do you exist? Like the 120mm version of the EK Elite.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah, it's just like, why does this... Or it wasn't the EK Elite, but it was still the EK all-in-one. And I'm just like, why does this...
you have actually chucked it from the shelf behind you.
It's gone into the box of naughty AIOs.
The box of naughty AIOs.
Yeah.
Is that where the Animax ones live?
Yeah. Well, the ones that haven't leaked everywhere anyway. But yes, it's again. When I saw that one, I was like, "Why does this exist? Why did you do this, EK? Who is this for?"
Mini ITX builds is the only point where it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, actually, now you. Yeah, damn it, you've just answered my question. Yeah. I didn't want a real answer, Caradog. I wanted you to agree with me.
I'm not sure, JD, that there isn't a 120mm, but the fact that there isn't one on Amazon in the first page of results basically to me says it doesn't exist in a fashion I care about. Cooler Master. Master Liquid Light 120 CPU liquid cooled dual dissipation pump. Yes. But yeah, friggin' only people who come up for a 120mm AIO are the brands where you're telling everyone, don't buy these AIOs.
Yeah. Okay, right. Stabs out. I wonder if I just assembled them wrong. No, they only went in one way. Yeah, no, they are assembled correctly. Don't know.
Oh my goodness, there's an NZXT Kraken as well.
See, well actually, yeah, I wonder why that one exists, because NZXT have got SFF boxes, but they come with a specialist water cooler. Yeah. That's their gimmick.
And there's also a Corsair H55, which is a 120mm one. Okay, fine. Yeah. That pump block looks kind of cool. They also make a 240. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's an interesting RGB pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tried your mash wobble technique on my backspace here. It's come back to life. See?
I'm a genius!
Best repair channel on YouTube.
Yep, we're keyboard experts now here. I've done one keyboard and that means I'm an expert.
I have done one keyboard and it mostly functions.
Where did I put my old stabilizers? Am I absolutely certain that they're not in this bag? Because I'm sure I put all of the stuff from the old keyboard in this bag.
Wait, there's a Peerless Assassin 120mm AOOs. AOO.
E-I-E-I-O.
Yeah. Yes. In answer to JD's question from earlier about which fan should I buy, basically the answer is the Arctic P12 Max in black.
Mm.
They're like £5 a fan, and they are, you know, top 5 performer in all categories. So it's just like, ah, yes. Do, 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 do. Oh no.
Definitely doesn't fit in that.
That is the worst part though about taking a keyboard apart. That's been one that's been a daily driver for a long time. Is where you're just like, oh yes, look at all the crumbs and the hairs and the.
Oh yeah, there was some. Yeah, when I took this one apart, it was there was a lot of gross, you know, and I was sort of, you know, I'd open it up and I'm like, this is why we're taking it apart, people, to act. And like that was one of my favorite parts of doing the job actually, is because I was doing a complete disassembly, like right down to the plate. Once I actually had the plate off, I could just put it under the kitchen sink and just wash and soap it clean.
It's like, oh look, it's clean now.
It was very Gusta. I'm just gonna tack in. Let's just click that in and let's just see if that works. It's just haven't been removed and put back in again.
Yes. Are you now going to solder it in like that?
I'm going to solder it in, see if it works. The problem is I didn't pay attention to which way around the stabilizers were, so I may have swapped them over, which again might just fix it because they're just sitting slightly differently,
yeah.
Or maybe just taking them out and putting them back in again has fixed it, you know.
Turn it off and on again.
Seems fine. See if I can do the same thing with the enter key. Enter the scary door.
What?
I don't know why that just randomly entered my head. I was thinking of word. I was trying to think of a catchphrase that involved the word enter.
The Matrix.
Preferably not the Matrix. Well, yeah, enter the Matrix is a thing, but it's not a catchphrase. Oh, that's still mega. That's still mega kill. Yeah, that's still not working.
Interesting. Can you rotate the
Stabilizer? No.
stabilizer 180 degrees?
You cannot. It only goes in one way.
Interesting. So, other dumb question. What happens if you try it without a switch and it's just the stabilizer?
Well, it'll just stay at the bottom, so it won't really give us a...
But it does actuate smoothly.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what that proves, though.
That putting the keycap on the stabilizer didn't stop the stabilizer from working.
Yeah, I guess. It didn't feel super stiff, no.
Yeah.
I'm going to search again for the old stabs. Where else was I putting keyboard stuff? I put it all in one place. Unless, yeah. I don't want to look for things on the middle of the live stream because it's not exactly entertainment to watch me searching for something. Maybe I did just... No, I wouldn't have thrown them out. I kept everything else.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Little searchy search? Nope.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to swap it with the backspace stabilizer.
Yes, that is an option.
Yeah, I'm going to swap those around as well. Okay. Right. Let's see. Yeah. I would not dare
To
search
oh, I see. I mean, there is a lot of
stuff. Yeah.
significant amounts of things. It does look like something has gone significantly wrong, just with the pools and lumps of solder.
Yeah. Well, that was me trying to unclog the desoldering gun.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to put this lube away before I stick the soldering iron into it as well.
Can you smell burning? Oh no!
Wah.
So the switches that are over here,
Those are the
these are all
lubed
the lubed
ones.
ones.
Yeah. Yeah. So I shall start disassembling those soon, which will be very easy. Yeah. Oh, also my 3D printer's done as well. I'm gonna look at that in a minute and see if that came out, because that'll be exciting.
Was that the collection of models?
The collection of models I took out this morning, and they came out pretty good. I decided to go full YOLO, and what the hell am I doing here? Have I just... Oh, I've just completely munched that switch. Good thing I've got a couple of spares.
Just end up putting a brown in for your backspace.
Oh no. Yeah.
No. Ah, yes. Ah, very good.
Yes, I've done a big dragon. It's a big Quivern from Pal World.
Oh, yes, it's a Charizard.
It's a fluffy Charizard. Okay, right. Right. Let's see the models. Sure thing. I'll bring them over and have a look in a sec. I'm gonna quickly try swapping these over. If this doesn't work, I'm giving up on this, because this is going to be slow and boring to fix. And yeah, so I'm not going to make the mistake of doing more of this on stream, because otherwise we run that risk where the back end of the stream gets slow and boring because I'm getting annoyed that the thing that I'm doing isn't going well.
It's fine. Do you know what the solution to that is?
What?
Thanks for coming, everyone. Good night.
Yeah. Also, if this doesn't work, I'm just going to put the switches in. No stabilizers.
For like enter, that's not a problem.
That's it.
For shift, it's a problem.
Yeah, for shift I agree. For enter, I'm not that fussed.
For backspace,
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit. What?
That one's come out from somewhere else. What are you confused
Just
about?
the fact of it just looked like it didn't fit. I was like, how have you managed to make it not fit? What have you done? Antec C8. Hold on. What? Antec C8. Oh yes, so it is. Antec Constellation C8 dual chamber.
Yeah, everyone and their dog is making dual chamber cases at the moment, and I've said this. The review of the GameMax. I've forgotten what they called it now, but the GameMax's dual chamber case that I've recorded this week. I kind of spent a lot of that review just basically voicing my opinions on dual chamber cases. And I don't like them, but I understand why other people do. It's just that stab. That stab is crap. Because I've just moved it up to the backspace now. Backspace is a bit wobbly. That's enter fixed though. I don't know what the hell is wrong with this stab, but it's crap.
It looks okay, but also it's just a box with glass in. But I like the fact that it's actually got nicely shaped metal bits for the interiors and stuff. It looks like a good knockoff. It's got nice thumb screws on the PCI.
Yeah, I thought the GameMax was pretty good as well. For a GameMax, you know, it was like... I don't mean that facetiously, but like the materials for it are surprisingly good as well. Because normally cheap cases, budget brand cases like GameMax, usually they're fine, but the materials are all paper thin.
No, free delivery as well from Scan on today only deal.
My beef with the GameMax one is that the panel fitment is just awful, basically. And I'm not sure if that's by design or just because GameMax. What is wrong with you, Stabilizer? Why are you crap?
Part picker, cases. Because I can't remember all 97 variants of the dynamic. See that one?
I'm kind of interested in the NZXT H6, which is their smaller dual chamber case.
I think it's that one, and then that's the original.
Let's poke that switch out. Oh my god, I'm getting very bored of this. All right. Is that constructed properly? Yes, and yes.
There you go.
Is that symmetrical?
Yeah. The thing I quite like the Lian Li 011 Dynamic Evo. Because the I/O panel, you can have more than one of them, and I just quite like that as an idea. So you could have two of them for high-end motherboards where they've got two 8 Type A's and 2 Type C connectors, front panel connectors. You can just have 4 front Type A USB 3s and 2 front Type C's effectively, and I'm like, that's kind of natty.
Because again,
it's not necessary, but
that was one of my complaints about the GameMax one. Single Type A, single Type C. And I'm like, why with the single Type A? You can put 2 ports on one cable. If you're putting in a single Type A, you may as well put in both Type A's. Because the wire is already there.
Because it means cutting another hole in the case.
Yeah. Yeah. It's annoying.
Yeah. Oh, really? GameMax have got a knockoff version of the Hype Y60 called the Hype.
Yes, that's the one that I reviewed. That's the Hype. Yeah. Yeah. Ah. That's gone in a way that is tolerable.
Good. You'll just have to make sure you don't make any typing errors at any point in the future.
Yep. I'm sending it. I'm sending it.
Sorry, did that go on the display for the Atom 14380?
Yes. You see what I'm talking about by how scary this thing is for its heat up time.
Also, did it cool down to 14 Celsius in this room?
Yes. It is cold in here. Right. Okay, that's on.
Please send tips. We can't afford the heating.
Well,
it's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot of expense to make a meaningful difference in here because electric heating and big rooms and very difficult to control airflow.
Yeah.
So it's just easier to wrap up. Winter will surely end soon. It's only March.
By the power of heat pumps.
Yeah. Have you seen Technology Connection's new video?
Yes.
And his by the power of buying 7 of them joke. I loved it.
Yes. Also, can I interest you in heat pumps? Our Lord and Savior. Phase change?
Okay, right. We're fine. We're done. I'm putting this in. We're sorted.
We're done. I'm done. It's done. The dunning is done.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that will do for now. There's something wrong with those stabs, basically. I would put in the old ones, but I'm buggered if I can remember where I put them, and I'm kind of annoyed about that because, like, I've got a bag of all of the old switches here, and I had while I was working on it, I had a box where everything that had come out of the keyboard I was retaining, and this bag is all of that, but the stabs aren't there. And I'm like, I don't know what I did with them.
I was just wondering if you put them in the keycap box or something.
No.
No.
Yeah, cannot for the life of me think where they are. They'll be, yeah, I can't see a world where I threw them out, but yeah. Either way, I've managed to fit those in such a way that, like, the backspace is dodgy, and like that's going to get changed again in the future. However, it's functional, and that's good enough for now.
Yeah.
It also might settle, so yeah. Because like I said,
whenever the nice man actually replies to me and goes, "Yes, I'm building them for money."
yeah. Okay.
Who is this person? Sabine Hosenfielder. I failed at the copying. Let's try
She
that again.
sounds German.
I was going to say.
I'm not judging, but
German theoretical physicist and philosopher.
I see.
I see. Could a new upgrade to heat pumps make them more viable heating option? I mean... Ha! I do enjoy subtitles where it obviously it doesn't know where the end of a sentence is. So it's just put a thing up there as the most important part of a civilization is yes. And I'm like, not quite sure that's what was actually said.
That keyboard is done.
Excellent.
It's passable. It's not ideal. Also, just one more thing for the people about the new soldering iron. I'm just going to show the heat up temperature just for context. Bench cam with face.
This does feel, interestingly, as I was saying, ever so slightly mushier. It is not quite as snappy.
Yes.
I think is them.
Yes, I'd agree with that. I think that's restrictions of the chassis. So here's the thing. 14 degrees idle. Here's the heat up. That's it. That's 380. Just damn, bro. This thing's nuts. That is a rapid soldering iron. Okay.
I was going to say heat pumps are exceedingly viable in the UK because we don't get below negative 15 Celsius.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
They are, very viable in here. I mean,
Alec
maybe little bits of Scotland might be ever so slightly less viable from an energy point of view.
Yeah.
Just, from a raw 1-to-1 efficiency point of view, just because it gets cold enough for the efficiency to drop from like 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 to like 1-to-1, 1.5-to-1. So yeah.
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 But, I mean, the thing is, though, this is the central point of Alec from Technology Connections. It's the central point of his new video, is that right now everyone is treating heat pumps like some kind of exotic, new, expensive technology. And it's like, no, it's just an air conditioner.
Yeah, it's literally just an air conditioner.
Yeah. So it's just, but the thing is, because none of the UK has air conditioning, we still treat air conditioners as exotic new technology.
Yeah.
And it's just like, heat pumps aren't this, it would, but I guess the other problem is that the UK is all central heating with water-filled radiators. And
a heat pump replaces the boiler. An actual heat pump installation.
Can a heat pump...
It replaces the boiler.
Can you do that into water-filled radiators?
Yeah, that's the point.
Okay.
You're replacing the boiler.
Oh, fair enough. I thought that would require...
As opposed to what I call an aircon unit.
I was about to say, I thought it would require us to go to a central air system.
No.
And we haven't done that since the 90s.
Yeah, the aircon setup, like I have, which is a heat pump, very much is separate to a install where you're replacing the boiler, because it can also do the hot water as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of that.
Very well.
So,
Yeah. All right, let's have a quick look at models, just because fun, and then I think we'll wrap up because yeah, like we're still. I can't see the timer. We're on 2 hours and something. 2 hours 29. Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll waffle about some 3D printing stuff for 20 minutes, and then that brings us up to 3 hours, which is about right. So yeah, I'm happy that I've got that keyboard up to something that is actually that's fine. It's not great. There's a little bit of stick on it, but it's perfectly acceptable for backspace. Like if it was right shift or one of the letters doing that, I'd be like, no, that's no good.
Yeah.
But backspace just having a little bit of a slow return, that's completely fine with me.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's going to free up with some use as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy that that is resolved.
Yeah.
So, here are some of my Pal World models that I've been doing, and a pony model that I did randomly as well. However, yeah, go to Benchcam. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, so anyone who's played Pal World will recognise these straight away, but that's a Dinosaur. So these are just obviously flat. I haven't painted them or anything, but I printed all 4 of these at the same time last night. I had them all come out of the thing at the same time. So I've got a Dinosaur there. We've got Chillet, because everyone loves Chillet. I've got a lamb ball, which is like a lamb, but they're a ball, and they're the best thing ever. And I've got a Quivern, which is a very fluffy dragon. And like this came out pretty good. The end of the tail snapped off when I was taking out the supports. Bit sad about that. But like these wings, they've got a little bit of bend on them. If you tried to do that in FDM, those would just break off. But yeah, it's actually pretty solid. The only problem I've got with these prints are the supports have left little pock marks over everything. And I don't know if I've over-supported them or whether model makers will be like, oh yeah, that's normal, you've got to file all of that off. I don't know anything about working with figurines and painting and stuff, or building Warhammer miniatures. Like people who are familiar with that might go, yeah, that's just a thing you have to sand off. So don't know about that yet. But what I'll do now, I'm just going to quickly grab the bed out of the machine because it's just finished doing a big Quivern, and I'm really excited to see how that's come out.
Oh, you can see the layers.
Yeah, there is a little.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, you can actually see the grain on these ones
but
as well.
like, you can't feel it.
Yeah. These models are completely... these are just raw rips out of the game. They're completely unmodified and completely unoptimized for print. I literally just wanted to YOLO it.
Did you rip them out of the game?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I went onto Thingiverse and someone else has ripped them. So, right.
What happened to the inside of the wing on this one? Because it looks cracked or scratched.
There is a little bit of scratching where I've just fingernailed in there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because I was trying to... Yeah. So...
It feels soft, like squidgy.
Yeah, there are... I have cured those, but I think there are some areas where they probably needed more curing, where I just couldn't get enough light in there. Whoop.
And how long was this set of prints?
Not sure. This one was about 3 hours. I think those were about 2.5, 3 hours as well.
That's really quite quick, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah. This has literally just come out the printer, so it's still covered in resin.
Oh, that's quite shiny.
Yeah. But that's just come fresh out of the printer. And to put things in perspective, where's something to give a sense of scale? Well, this is about, I think this was 9 centimeters tall, maybe. Am I going to drip resin everywhere, or if I do,
There's
I'll
a
just clean
thing
it
to
up?
give scale. Oh, look, here's
yeah.
a ruler.
Well,
what is it? It
yeah,
is actually, yeah.
Hang on a minute. Oh well.
I'm handing that.
Oh,
to
I
you.
see. I wasn't sure.
Like,
I wasn't sure what you were trying to do. I'm like, if you're holding that up to the model, that's not helpful. Right. I'm doing. Right. Okay. 0 to the top. Oh, there we go. Yeah, he's about 9 centimeters tall. I nearly said 90 centimeters there.
This is my 1 meter tall 3D resin model.
There's a big Quivern. about 9 centimeters tall. This is almost, as you can see, that's almost the size of the print bed. So like width-wise, with that huge wingspan, that's almost as big as the GK2 could do. But obviously you could go taller than this. But I wanted to try and do a big model, and that's what that's just come out with. So obviously I've got to take that off. I've got to pull off all of the supports and then wash it. Yeah, I could start doing that now. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I'm going to wash it and then remove the supports, and then I might wash it again. I've noticed that
Suspicious Pineapple says you can fill and file the pot marks for the supports, or there is a setting somewhere that's like how deep it actually goes into the model.
I've seen that setting for how far the support goes into the model, and I did think about making that smaller.
Yeah.
Use model nippers. Oh yeah. Obviously use side cutters. Like how else would you remove it? But yeah.
Wiggle it around a lot.
Yeah. But yes, I actually think that is, because I think if I remove how far the support goes in, that will severely weaken the support's connection to the model, which is probably fine. And I think that will reduce
given how many
the pop
there
mark.
appear to be.
Yeah.
Well.
This is just auto support as well. I think if I were MLG Pro and I was manually adding supports, it might be better. But yeah, I'll lob this into the. I'll just grab the.
Is the wash
station
the same size as your print bed, or is your print bed bigger than your wash station?
The print bed is bigger, but so this is going to go in slightly wonky, but I think it'll fit in there. I'm just going to grab it. We'll just stick it on the bench now and see if we can do the thing.
That's super cool, though. I presume there was actually very little like texture in the actual file.
Yeah,
just because there's nothing.
Yeah, there's no face or anything. And that's because the Palworld models are actually very simple. Like it's one of my complaints about Palworld is all of the models are just sort of painted on eyes and faces kind of thing. And like that's okay, they look adorable, and it meant that they could do 110 pals for their first game kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also means that there's very little detail. By comparison, that's my VR chat model, so that one actually has an awful lot more detail to it. However, it's low poly, hence all of the flat surfaces on it.
It's a super cool effect though, just because it's shiny, and it's just like
certainly interesting. But
it's kind of glitter bally.
Yeah, that's a VR chat model, and I posed that in Blender, and then just quickly added in a base and some flower pots and a stool and stuff like that. So I just basically made my own figurine out.
That's super
so
cool.
that's effectively my design. So yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to do that, because it was 100% original.
Where did the model come from?
The model is based on a pony base, and I originally I paid the person who made the base to do a different hairstyle for it, and then I designed in Blender all of the outfits and clothing for it and stuff.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'm just getting an extension lead.
All the things. That's cool though. Like, obviously, I have no idea what any of these things actually look like.
Yeah, anyone who's played Palworld will immediately recognise them and be like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah, it's a Breloom.
Yeah. Duh.
I mean, it's a Breloom. Yeah, oh, that's cool. It's also interesting that the stepping is obviously just so much smaller than on FDM.
Yeah.
That you can't feel the layers even though you can see them.
Okay, right.
Okay. So
here's the earth. It is a sweet earth, you might say. Wrong. Okay, no, we're stopping that joke right now, because otherwise we're just going to start quoting End of the World again. This is getting out of hand. Okay, right. So the problem is I've programmed myself to go okay all the time. Can you switch off a bench cam while I fiddle this around? I'm just setting up the wash and cure station on the end so you guys can watch me do the thing with this.
So you guys can wash me. No, wait.
Carrot Dog Plus.
Wait, that's a different stream.
Right, I'll put that there for a minute. So this is kind of cool because we were looking at all of this equipment when we unboxed the GK2. Right, how's that looking? Do we need to go?
I'm going to zoom all the way out.
Yeah, that looks good. And what I'm going to do is just do a bit of that and a bit of that, and we're both trying to correct at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll do.
I think that's roughly what we're looking for.
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to put it down. All right, I'm putting it down.
Just stop.
Stop.
Wrong way.
Right, here's my box of water. For those of you playing along at home, this is water washable resin that I'm using, so I don't have to dick around with an alcohol wash. Right, that goes on there. So this is just essentially a box of distilled water with a bunch of resin that I've already washed off of other stuff in there. Right, so I'm going to get my scraper. I'm going to put on gloves as well, just for posterity, or a glove.
Something smells awful.
It's the resin. Yeah. Like, they're not joking.
Is it the pot?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not joking. The resin is horrible, horrible stuff. So it's just like, yeah. We've got a fan running in this room, so we have got airflow just so we're not essentially hotboxing ourselves with the fuse or anything, but also just like, but yes, and likewise, I'm going to handle the resin stuff with a gloved hand because yeah, it's nasty stuff. Whoops, easy. Am I on shot? Yeah, just about. Oh, that tail is really fragile again. I'm a bit worried about that.
Oh, would you have to like make it slightly bigger effectively?
Yeah. Worst case scenario is if it comes off, I'll just glue it back on and just be like, yeah. However, obviously this model is not designed to be printed. So that's where a print optimization would come in. Oh, I can see it moving.
All the crunching noises.
Oh. All right, come on, Quivan. I'm going to put resin on the table here. What I've been doing so far is in front of the print station, while I'm doing this bit, I actually have some cardboard down on the table. So I can just do everything on the cardboard, and that means that A, when the cardboard gets nasty, I can just throw it out, and B, if I need to just move stuff, I can just put stuff on the cardboard, lift the cardboard up and move it around. So, right, so I'm going to, just going to grab the basket. Right, I shall put that in the basket. Yeah, he does fit, there we go.
Nice. Thumb up.
All right. And now it's going to start doing the thing. So you'll see the water start swirling in a minute as it gets going. There we go. So it is now washing. So there's a stirrer on the machine, and that is stirring the water, and every 2 minutes it changes direction and goes the other way. So that's now washing all of the excess resin off of the model, and it makes a huge difference. You have to wash after print. Like, yeah. And the thing is, you can't just run it under the tap because you don't want to wash all your resin down the sink because toxic. Yeah, so
indeed.
You can reuse your wash fluid quite a lot, and then the coffee filters that came with the printer, that's what those are for, is you can filter the water out, and then obviously the water's not going to be pristine, but it's clean enough that you can get away with washing down the sink at that point because you've taken the worst of the resin out of it. and then you bin the resin, basically. So yeah. However, I've not had to get rid of this yet. So I'm going to do a couple more checks just to make sure there's no other options for that. But that's my understanding of things at the moment. So yes. But when that comes out, you'll suddenly see that there's massively more detail in it than there was before. And then I've got to play the long game of just very slowly cutting and snapping all of the supports off of it.
Yeah.
And I haven't had to do supports on all the things, but these unoptimized models I'm putting on supports. This one had a little bit of support, but like the nose was not properly supported, so the front of the face got a bit smushed. So
my nose fell off.
yes, basically. There we go, so now it's changing directions. And making funky futuristic noises as it does so.
Beep, beep, beep.
It is surprising how much turbulence it generates. It's remarkably effective. So yes, I might. I was hearing knocking noises, but I think it's just the model just wobbling slightly on the thing. I might stop that after. Actually, I'm going to use the loo, and then that'll probably kill enough time for that to take effect.
I'm going to take this glove off, then go to the loo.
These gloves are horrible. I've got some decent nitrile gloves at home, but the ones that came free with it, they're kind of single use. Whatever, I'm just going to commit to that now. Alright, I'll be right back. I will take off my mic as well.
I've been cutting chilies. I'm just going to go to the loo. Well, we can sit and watch some water turbulence. Zoom. Ah, wrong way. There we go. See? But anyway, face cam. Hello. It is I. Yes. Not having done any 3D printing myself, I'm quite impressed. I've no idea what one should be expecting from these, and obviously I've never actually seen the models. Futuristic beeping continues. But yes, I'm quite impressed with the knockoff Pokemon. I feel like, doing an actual comparison to the model in-game would probably be helpful for knowing what the hell's going on. But, yes, I have said, good question, pre-revenue, I have said that, once roughly worked out what's going on, I want to print a Nyx from EVE Online and just get a really big one of them, or print a large Hell and just, yes, have a couple of those. I don't know if anyone's actually ripped the models and then made, what are they called, STLs? Yeah, STLs of the actual game models, but I'd have a look.
The download I got for these Palworld models.
Have a microphone.
Thanks.
Your microwave meal is ready.
The download for these Palworld models that I got from Thingiverse, they had some other file that they said, oh, this was the game rip file. I can't remember what the file format was. But also, I don't know what the process is for when people rip models out of games. But presumably the Palworld ones were reasonably accessible.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Left hand, I think.
Yeah, I've not actually looked to see if models exist for it, but it was just a case of, yeah, that'd be something I'd want to print if we did. It was just, a couple of the ships from EVE Online.
Oh yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind that those will exist somewhere.
Yeah. I was actually looking the other day at the press pack for EVE Online just to see what wallpapers they had going around now, and I was very pleased to see that all of the wallpapers they're distributing now are 4K. I'm just like, congratulations, they're no longer 1680 by 1050. So yeah, for the longest time they were distributing tiny low-res wallpapers.
Gross.
Yeah.
It is always frustrating because it's just like you have the ability to make these at whatever resolution you want. Why would you not do it at a massive overkill resolution?
Why wouldn't you do it at 5,000 by 5,000 pixels sort of thing?
Yeah, like I mean, obviously, whatever. Like one day, people will be like, "Oh God, it's only 4K. Why is it not 12K?" kind of thing. But even still, for the longest of resolution hasn't moved much in the past 15 years.
Yeah. But it's also just kind of a case of like, why would you release it at like 1600?
Yeah. Right. Okay, I think that is mostly dripped.
Especially when you're doing, your trailers at 4K.
I'm going to give that a quick blast with the air compressor just to blow the last of the water off, which is how I've just been quick drying, basically. BRB.
Engage hairdryer noises.
And I've got my mic, so you guys are going to be here for the hairdryer noise. I'm sorry when that happens. It's happening now.
Ha! Don't you start that. The human eye can only see X, Y, and Z. So help me.
It's over. If you said anything while I was gone, no one heard it.
They did, because I muted you.
Oh. Well, that was rude. I guess I was talking to myself.
You started talking and said, "Oh, in a minute there's going to be so-and-so," and then as soon as I heard the click, I went, mute.
All right. Okay, right, hang on a sec. I'm going to put that back in there. I'm going to get rid of the print bed. And I'm going to get something so I can sit and cut this guy out.
Very well. The brown switches that are here need to go in the pile of brown switches over there. I'm just trying to generate a tiny bit of desk space.
Yes, yeah.
These are all done.
I hadn't planned on doing any of this, but this is kind of just... Yeah, isn't interesting, and people are just like, show us the models. So it's just like, okay, well, I guess we're doing model stuff now.
Ah, there is a random bit of resin here. Did it break off?
Oh yeah, that's the small quiven's tail. I did actually like cure it and stuff anyway, just in case I wanted to glue it back on, which I might still do. But
where did it come off?
All right. Bench cam with face. Oh, that's not a useful view. I'm going to shuffle you across. Here we go. Magical adventure. Hold on to your butts.
I'm going to put us on face cam.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry, not sorry. Okay.
Oh, no. Okay, can't do that because it's actually being used. Oops, that's face cam will capture. There we go.
All right. If you can pull out a little bit, and you can't preview because
I thought I just turned off the preview.
All right. Right.
Whoop.
That and straighten. There we go. All right. So now we have our printed boy, and we need to free him from his scaffolding prison.
There you go.
So, yeah, I'm not very good at this, so everyone's going to wince as I very heavy-handedly do this. So, yeah. Right, I'm going to handle this with freehand just so I've got a little bit more dexterity. It is mostly resin-free at this point, so it's enough that should be gloved up, but I will wash my hands afterwards. But, yeah. I'm just going to very gently just start snapping these things off. And for the most part, they do just snap off. it's easier to remove the supports than it is from FDM. Right, that's that.
I was going to say, I'm going to go face cam for a second.
Okay.
And then go. Whoop.
Oh, I'm terrified of this tail. The join on the tail is so thin. I should have modified it. I was hoping that printing this thing bigger would resolve that problem. Right, I'm going to manually cut that out.
There you go. Just because you're now far more to the left of the frame, so you can actually see more. And I'm going to go do the same thing you did.
Okay. Right. Come on. I'm just going to try and get some big chunks off first. There we go. Ugh. Right. Yes, I'm not an expert at trimming stuff out, I'm afraid. So this is just how I'm doing it, I'm afraid. The good news is, though, is that if you do break one of these, you can just print another one. So while I'm trying not to break it, if it does break, it's not a catastrophe. Oh, we're nearly there. Once I get this tail free, I will be a lot more relaxed. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Tail free. Good. Right, let's start moving along. So as you can see, these supports just break off, which is what they're designed to do. But also, this is kind of why I've got this issue with some pock marks. And it might be that I'm just removing the supports incorrectly, but I don't see how else you could do it. Right, carry on going under those wings. I'm going to need to do some cutting in a minute. If you can remove enough of the branches, then just big chunks come off. I hadn't planned on doing this live, but, you know, here we are. It's easier to sand down than it is to fill holes. That is true. And you say use the cutters, but what? Do you want me to manually trim every one? I can start counting them if you want, but we're going to be here for an hour if I do that. The other thing as well to remember is that this hasn't been cured yet. The resin is still slightly soft, which is why you remove the supports before you cure. Okay, let's cut into that. Right, I'm going to cut up that.
I'm just going to grab some water. Do you want any?
I'm okay, thank you. Whoop. All right, can I break that off? I can. Whoop. It does sound very crunchy and horrible, but this is just support snapping off, which is what they're designed to do. This is going a lot easier than the smaller models, though, I can tell you that much. The smaller models took me a lot longer to free from the supports. Printing bigger is better.
Well, yes.
Obviously, you just get few of them on the print bed, though. I'm hoping that the pock marks are going to be less noticeable as well, though, because it's a bigger model. That was the plan.
So I'm very pleased.
Hmm.
There is a GitHub of all of the Eve models
I see.
that was kindly linked in the Discord. And it was like, ah.
So I gather you're going to now be going, okay, here is a queue of all of the models that I want.
Well, here's the STL for the hell.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm more than happy to do this because this is the thing. In order to review this printer, I basically just need to print a whole bunch of stuff and then talk about it.
You know what? Yeah.
That little bit is marked slightly. I might be able to smooth that down. There's a little bit under the... Oh, yeah, no, you've come off. That's fine.
Yeah.
There we go. See, all that crackling you're hearing is all of those little boys snapping off the bottom. Like,
That's a cool effect through the base.
yeah, but like I can't trim every single one of those. They will just break off. There we go. This is a mixture of water and a little bit of resin still on the bottom, so I shouldn't be fingering it up. Right, I think we're free. So I'm going to drop this back into the wash now and give it a second wash because more stuff will come off now that the support is gone. Oh, there's one more there. Let's just... Oh, that went right round the side of his head.
It's wild, the directions and stuff, obviously, you can print in.
Yeah. Oh, that one's a pain in the ass. How am I going to get to that? Can I get in there with the... I think I can get the cutters in the back there.
Yeah.
Where are you holding on? Oh, it's right on the edge of the cheek fluff.
Cheek fluff?
Yeah, I guess you could call it that.
Is that
Right,
actual...
I think I've got it. Well...
Oh, wait. I was like, wait, what? There's actual fluff you can see? Hold on a minute.
Yeah. Oh, that one is just...
Oh, I see what you mean about... Right, I couldn't work out what that bit of plastic was. But I realised, yes,
Yeah.
that, and there's the tiny point there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that actually... So there's a little bit of the support. A little bit of the support is just holding on to the side of the neck there. I think that might actually require me to go in there with just a blade and just nick that off. But I'm going to run it through the wash again before I do that. Just in case I get really lucky and it just comes off in the wash.
And also just a case of it means that, you know, moving it around and stuff, you need to be less worried again.
Yeah.
Did I unmute myself? Oh, yes, I did unmute myself.
There we go. Whoop.
That's cool, though. Approximately hard drive noise.
Yeah, I have a suspicion that like all of this support was overkill, but the problem is that I think learning how to add manual supports is going to require a lot more experience than I currently have. Like, I know how to add in manual supports for FDM printing, but for some reason or other with resin, I just found it a lot less. I'm like, yeah, I need to do some more prints with no supports and just see what happens so I can see what the effect of something not being supported is.
Is there a resin toaster?
Probably.
You know, the torture toaster.
Yeah.
Because I guess it'd be worth kind of doing one of those because it will show you where stuff will fail and so on.
Yeah. Yeah. Radar, I do appreciate that you work with models, but you haven't worked with something that is fresh out of a resin 3D printer, which is a different material. When it's hardened, yeah, this is not cured though, so it behaves differently. And also, I don't think the models that I don't think the models that come in a box have supports that look like that on them either. You know, so like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I get that you do models, but like, what do you expect me to cut every single one of those? So yeah, because what will happen is I'll cut one, and all of the ones around it will snap off. So. All right. I am going to start clearing up. That actually came out a lot nicer than the other one, though. I'm kind of happy with how that's going. I'm going to get rid of the supports.
Support gone.
And I'm going to clean up the scraper. All right, and then hopefully all we should need to do is cure it. Hello?
Crytox. I see. I'm not entirely certain that's kind of, you know, a name association you want for your product.
Yeah, it was kind of frustrating with the switch lube, how many different brands and types of lube there were as well. And I'm like, why does there need to be more than one?
Oh, that's why you've done it wrong. You've got the wrong lube.
Obviously.
It's the wrong type of lube.
Yeah.
It's also the wrong colour. It's the wrong shade of white.
You have to get the hot pink lube. That's how you know it's good.
Exactly. You need the special distributor as well. You know, the £35 paintbrush. I know all about the importance of distributors.
You sure do, Caradog. You sure do. Might have had my, oh, it's got 30 seconds to go. I'll just let it finish.
Yeah. Was the outcome of the kind of the conversation about gears on the resin printer just a case of it won't do it?
I need to try it again, basically, because yeah, I'm not sure that test was inconclusive. So I need to do the test again.
Did it detach?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the model. I think the bottom layer of the model shrunk on the print bed and detached. So I need to try it again and print it at an angle, and that's something that the instructions tell you to do. So I need to try and do that and see if it comes out, because then we'll actually get a decent result. Right, I'm going to let that drip again. Then once again, I'm going to blow dry it again, and then we should have something that's starting to look like a finished model. So yeah.
Nice.
Again, my only sadness is that I don't do model painting, and quite frankly, the prospect of model painting doesn't excite me. And I'm like, this is kind of frustrating because...
it's okay, you can ship the models off to other people and be
yeah.
like, here, you paint this.
Yeah. Well, unironically, obviously, there are people where you can pay them to paint your models for you. So, like, I probably should actually just, you know, check who I've got about who wants to do model painting and be like, how much does it cost for you to just do a basic paint job on this figurine, you know? Because I can print anything I like now, but I can't be asked to paint it. That's not something that interests me. So, yeah.
RGB resin. Yeah, just stick LEDs up your model's bums.
Well, you can get the clear resin, and like I think I will buy clear resin, because also in the absence of paint, that's something interesting you can do if you have no intention of painting it.
Oh, you paint little bits of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, failing that, I could probably just do like just a base coat on it, just so it's not grey.
Yeah.
Because there's not really a lot of selection for resin colours.
Get a rattle can and just kind of...
I don't think I'd be able to get a flat enough finish. Right, I'm going to go blow dry that super quick. BRB.
Very well. I'm going to have a Bellona.
Oh, I'll have one of those in a minute. Please mute me.
Get out. There we go. Ugh.
Hopefully I'm muted.
Ha! Home.
Hopefully I was muted.
We'll never know.
Okay. Oh, rattle can, some primer. Yeah, will a rattle can work? Or will you just get a really terrible finish? Like, is it that
You
simple?
did an alright job on the shroud.
Yeah. Well, for a model though, I don't know if I don't know if that would work on something complex. So, yeah. Right. Okay. Let's go for the cure now, I think, because this is still slightly soft. So now we take the box of water off. We put the turntable on. Whoop. And I'm going to put him on his back, I think. I don't know if he's... Yeah, he will fit. And put in the light. Extra light. Right. And I'm going to take off this glove. Huh. Okay. Right. The dome of yellow. And we go cure. Flexi cure. And I'm going to give that 4 minutes, I think. Brrr. You might be able to pull off that angle. Will it do it, or is it going no?
Not quite.
Yeah, there's not a lot to... He's turning around in the box, that's it. Yeah.
I'm spinning around. Move out of my way.
Be surprised with rattle cans these days. Fair enough. Yeah,
How do you cure the bits that are touching?
What, touching the plate? Well, the plate is clear plastic, and it does try to bounce light up. However, I have noticed that the bottom of the model seems to suffer the most. So what I might do is let that run for sort of 2 minutes, then I might just turn it over. Is there another one of those?
Yes.
Ah, yes, thank you. Yeah. If you cure it for too long, I think you can make it brittle. So I'm not, but I'm not sure how much of a penalty there is on that.
So if you just took some of the liquid resin and put it on the plate, it would cure.
Yep. It'll just turn into a solid blob.
They're like £1.50 as well.
Are they hollow? No, they're solid. It's built up. It doesn't... I don't think it cross-sections the model, actually. I think there is an option to cross-section the model when you slice. However, unless the slicer is doing it without me noticing, I think the models I'm printing here are just completely solid. If you were doing something huge, though, you'd probably want to cross-section the inside to make it hollow. But I'm not... Obviously, making it solid uses more resin, but also you get something that is heavier and more solid, you know. And I would prefer the weight, personally. If it isn't cured all the way through, they can burst and spray uncured resin over everything. How can that possibly happen, though? Because it's being printed layer by layer, curing each layer on the way up. Like, sure, it could be slightly soft on the inside, but it's not going to be gooey. Alright, I'm going to stop that and turn it over.
Wait, did the USB light stay on?
Yeah, the USB light stays on all the time, which is kind of funny. They've got the big to-do about the safety interlock and everything. You can't run it without having the cover on. The USB flexi light, though, that can just be on all the time.
Because I saw a purple glow and was like, is that an optical illusion?
No. It's a good thing it's not. It's a good thing it's not UVC, isn't it? But you know, we had this song and dance when we were unboxing it, and no, I mean, I can't remember if it's A or B, but it's not the death ray. So
the sun is a deadly laser.
Do your sanding first, and then spray primer, and that'll fill the imperfections. Yeah, sanding is. I'm not excited about the prospect of sanding it.
Sanding for 4 hours.
Right. It's a little bit soft on the back. I'm just going to give that another minute. However, that's looking really cool. I'm excited.
High performance lubricant.
Melanin sponge is a great thing for that. Yeah, see, this is the problem. It's just like, this is all getting into the... This is all getting into the model building stuff, which I don't want to get into. And I'm like, oh, I know there's going to be fixes and solutions for all of this, and everyone has already figured this out, but I don't want to spend time learning that. I just want the model. So, very nice.
That's so impressive.
Hello, PC plebs. 5 seconds. Boop.
Oh,
right.
yeah. Whee!
And, right. Bench cam with face. No.
There you go.
What on earth? Oh, yeah. No. I was about to say, what happened to the camera angle? I was like, oh, yeah, you happened. No.
What happened?
No.
Graham happened.
No. No. Good enough. All right. There we go. There's my big quivern, everyone. Ah, yeah, look, there's some pock marks on the tail there, so this is where some fixing is required. It came out better than the other one, but yeah, so I'd have to learn a little bit of sanding to fix those imperfections where we've just cut and snapped out the supports. But yeah, that is just, yeah, it's super cool because you can't do that on FDM, and like, you wouldn't download a PAL World. Yeah, damn right I would. What are they going to do? Sue me for copyright infringement? But yeah, what about using a Dremel with a sanding disc? Oh, I would probably not. I would say that the risk is way too high. But again, I think like when it comes to doing the sanding and polishing, now that is up to the model experts to explain. I will fully agree with that. You can use the same resin, dab on and cure it and then sand it flush. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, metal emery board, glass polishing stick. Yeah, so yeah, like all of the model builders will be able to tell you the solutions to that. But yeah, that tail is still wretchedly fragile, unfortunately. I think if I were to try and print this again, I would load the STL up in Blender and I would just tweak that tail and just make that join way thicker than it is and just fix that. However, I'm very happy with that. That's very cool. And it's big as well, which is what I also like. Yeah. There we go. That's my big quivern. Oh yeah, he's going to need a base as well, I remember now. Because he won't stand straight on his own. But I can print a base for him, which I haven't tried print... I can print a base in resin, but I might just do it in FDM, just because FDM bases look fine. And I could do it in a nice colour. So yeah, I'll probably print an FDM base for that. Whoop. There we go. That's it. Bam.
Running away.
I'm going to put the lid on the box of water before that gets sloshed everywhere. Ooh. Alright, I'll put this over here.
Very good.
Yeah. I tell you what else looks like it's improved as well is the small one. Again, I don't know if this is a washing issue, but the small one, you see that light banding around the inside there? I think that's just where it could have done with a bit more wash. The larger one doesn't seem to have done that. So, although putting them side by side, the big one hasn't come out that much bigger. I reckon I could do this even bigger if I printed it sideways. So instead of printing it the right way up, if I just printed it vertically, wingtip to wingtip, I could probably go for a massive quiver. But I don't know. I don't know if I can be bothered to do that. I think that might be a job for another day, because I need to actually get on and write a review about this thing now. But yeah, still. Would be nicer if it had eye holes. Yeah, again, I think that's another thing that I might do. I think that's something else that I would do if I were getting serious as well, is load up the STL file in Blender, thicken the tail join just so that's less fragile, and just add in, if nothing else, just some indentations for the eyes. Because like the Lamble has some indentations. Lamble's face kind of got ruined by a very poorly positioned support, but Lamble had some little indentations just to denote the eyes. So even though like you'd still need to paint on, but at least you can see the eyes go there, kind of thing. So yeah. He roll.
Whee! Have you played Power World?
Yes, I'm playing Pal World offline at the moment, and I'm having fun with it. It's a chill game. So yes, it's not something that I've got any plan on streaming at the moment, unless there is a big demand for it. Like I think, like if one of my friends who was also a streamer was just like, I kind of want to play Pal World. Do you want to do a multiplayer with me, kind of thing? I would co-op with them through it. But I've not. I have no intention of doing a solo stream of Pal World. So yes. If you roll the model like 20 degrees onto his back, you can make it so the pock marks are on the back and not noticeable when on display. That's a good idea as well. Yeah, yeah. These are good These are good solutions. Yeah, because I just printed it the right way up because I wasn't really sure. Like there is an auto arrange button, but that kind of just went bleh with the model, and I'm like, well, that's what the slicer is suggesting, but I don't understand the logic behind that, so I don't know whether I should or not. But yeah, still, that came out well. I'm very happy with that. Right. How much is the new iron? I think I paid about 90 quid for it. So yes. Right. That's about all we've got for today, I think. What the hell? It's 20. We're at 3 hours 20 minutes. How did that take 40 minutes? Okay. Thanks for coming, everyone. I've enjoyed this conversation in English.
I have stabbed things.
You are stabbing things, yeah.
Yes. I too have enjoyed this conversation in English.
Oh, incidentally as well, have those just poked through first time, no problems?
No, because I don't have that accuracy.
Okay, but it was a skill issue, not a hole issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
The holes are slightly too big.
Oh, yeah. Not sure if that'll be an issue or not. However,
no.
When we were talking about 3D printing last time, and people were just like, "Oh, there's the whole resize thing that we changed to make sure that holes didn't fill in during printing." That worked a treat on this. So yeah, that was really good. Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe we could just put a tiny drop of glue on the pins and then put them down there or something. Might work.
Yeah. But it's certainly a case that the actual outs, are basically, just about the right size.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't really want to go.
That seems to be working
smaller.
more as intended, if nothing else. Good. All right. There's a screen pixel density to layer height relation that you don't fully understand. Yeah, because that's the other thing as well, is as soon as you print at a weird angle, there is going to be some grain on the model. And if you print at a weird angle, the grain will be at a weird angle. But also if you're planning on painting the model, then that doesn't matter, because even just a primer is going to fill in the grain. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, we're out of here. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope that was kind of interesting, and we'll see you next week with something else.
Absolutely.
So yeah, possibly more repair stuff, because yeah, I do want to bring back. I want to carry on doing the repair stuff because it's been popular. But yeah, today we worked on a keyboard, and I showed you some progress on the 3D resin printing stuff. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all next time. Thanks for being here, and have a good weekend and such.
Don't forget to sign back in.
I was going to say, we literally cannot end the stream at the moment because we're not signed in. So can we swap places so I can make everything work? Actually, I'll just take the keyboard. Oh, no, we're fine. This is happening now. I have to log in so I can end the stream. Or I could just hit stop stream from OBS. I'm going to do that. Thanks, everyone.